series number 3. And look at that. Myriad with his newly signed org. He is now a Volta esports member. Gullyd3ck3l, teamless, but, you know, he's like 17. Give him some time.
But Myriad also winning 3-0, apparently. That was a really fast series. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. I know...
We're back on schedule.
What? They just disqualified some points?
Wait, what? You can't do that. You take 3 games from him? He worked very hard for that. He turned up to the lobby.
And he got Aopits banned against him, which is honestly,
my god.
Again, I'm loving these bans. Oh, now we're getting there. Hey, as them kids would say, yeah, 6-7, 6-7. Nice.
13 game series, baby. Whoop, whoop.
Can't take them anywhere. Okay. Can't take them
even
anywhere.
Make it a 9. I mean, just seriously.
That's our generation. Calm down, KP. Them Gen Zs don't know what they're talking about. But...
Yeah, but we outnumber them, okay? The older people outnumber. So unless Gullyd3ck3l can actually stomp Myriad out, that trend is going to remain the same. Old people got it, all right?
So guys, let's hop on in. It is Byzantines versus China. And let's see how this bad boy plays out as we have the 2 Chads against one another. Gullyd, the Chad of the 17-year-olds, as he's just had his birthday, apparently. And Myriad, the best in all of the British lands. Sorry, KP. I'm rating Myriad above you. In-game, of course.
Why would you even do that? Like, literally every time on this broadcast that he's had the British flag, he's lost. Okay, so when he's the Hungarian flag, he wins. This is factually true. This happened, if you remember, the series that he almost qualified for last time. There were, I think, 2 games he lost, and both of them he was flying the Union Jack. And when he switched to the Hungarian flag, he started to win. So, he's figured that strategy out between Qualifier 1 and Qualifier 2. How does Gullyd stop this from being a free-er?
Well, Gullyd, he's playing China, right? This is not a civ that usually struggles too much on a map where you need to secure resources yourself, and especially when you're up against someone who's not going to go for pro scouts, you have a little bit of breathing room. I guess that's my question. Where does Gullyd go here? Does he go for the pro scouts, or is this something where he's the one who's going to need to push to shut down Byzantines from, you know, overflowing in resources and oil? Because Myriad, the man, has 2 villages on stone. So this man is planning to build some cisterns and get that economy on the road. Gullyd, on the other hand, pretty standard China play here. As we can see, the 8-3. And I'm excited to see if this is actually going to be pro scouts. I love to see pro scouts these days because you actually need to be actively stopping it to... You need to put effort in. Not like before. You just A-click. That's what I like about it.
Yeah. It's a weird one because, like, you'd think it's really good on this map, and to a certain extent it is, but the flank Ds are so far away. Like, Rocky River has the same problem where pro scouts feels really depressing when you pull a deer from, like, the east or the west side of the center of the map, and then you realize you lost half the food. It's like that's another impact point. But China has been a bit more resilient against that change because of the 20% extra on drop off. Right? It's technically like, yes, we've lost maybe 50% of what we should get for the deer. I'm still then getting 20% more. So like it's not as painful for them as it is for most other civs in the game.
Now, with the sheep, we do see them pretty evenly split. Still 2 up for grabs. And for Myriad, this doesn't matter too much, at least initially. He's not up against a civilization that is known for big raids. And that's going to be the key here on Boldland. And I think for a lot of players who are watching this, you might be like, okay, where do we go? What does each civilization do in this case? Your whole point of this map is raiding. So do you find yourself in a position where Gullyd goes for something crazy, like a faster castle to get onto the lances? Or will Myriad actually be the one who is putting down the pressure with possibly Keshiks or just horsemen raiding all around? But raiding needs to happen. It just needs to. And especially with none extras on wood, I'm a little bit worried here. Because Gullyd, he still has a lot on food.
Yeah. I would have expected probably a horseman opening into maybe like an archer transition here. It really comes down to what Byzantines do. Like sometimes you just kind of want to delay a little bit because, if it's javelins versus longbows, it really changes your outlook. China does have a really good aggro timing on a map like this with archer massing down the center, though. So, we'll have to see. Like, with the gold gathering, he's got 3 there. It looks like it's going to be pro scouts. It's just a case of whether he just wants to rush greedy tech ups after that or go for a feudal all-in timing.
I'm actually so excited to see if he's just gonna make scouts be greedy about this because he can, or if he's actually just gonna make horsemen as well to do a bit of raiding. Now, Myriad, he gets to make this decision for himself in terms of also just going for a faster castle. Byzantines is really, really good at that. Now, he has 6 on wood, so with 8 on food still, we're expecting some production. There has to be... Ooh, hello, we're pulling off of gold, never mind. He's gotten what he needs, and he's going to go for his pro scouts, possibly from here on out. Now, gonna add everything to the wood and the food to make things happen.
Yeah, so probably horsemen plus archers here, because you're going to want to have the horsemen coming out after you've used it for the scouts play. It's just kind of complementary. And then the whole idea is that you need to deal with Limitane. This might change things, though, because Myriad has began ponies. So usually when this happens, it kind of pivots. I think the play the smart for Myriad here is he can now force Gullyd to go spears, and that just opens up longbows.
Problem is, with him going for that many scouts already, Gullyd is a greedy boy right now. Just making sure that spears are coming out. He is definitely going to lose a few, trying to get the deer back to the base. Now, this pro scouts is coming in at the speed of light, but the horseman does get spotted, and I would not be surprised if Gullyd slows down a little bit on the scouts, but he actually just says, more scouts, please. Some of you will die.
Yeah.
Ah, there we go. There we go. 4 is enough, and he says horseman from here on out.
Can we check the neutral trade post on Myriad's side? I wonder if there's anything that you could utilize here.
Luckily not. Luckily not.
I was going to say, something like knights, Sipahi, Chu can be surprisingly effective in the right environment.
Oh,
yeah, nothing interesting.
These horses aren't going to be trading well forever, so we're going to see him switching over to the spears pretty quickly. And now they are going to try to deny as much of these pro scouts as they can. Oh, we do have a game pause.
I thought they were trying to deny a reasonable time to the end of the stream.
That is not going to be possible, KP. Tonight, you and I are going to be stuck here until 1 a.m. Cal, Vodka, they're getting ready themselves. I'm sure both scrolling Instagram Reels. Oh, sorry, different generation. Vodka scrolling Instagram Reels, Cal scrolling TikTok. Yeah.
Just are we going to get like sleeping bags and have marshmallows and just like, play truth or dare? Like, is that how deep into the night we're going here?
I already signaled BC to get us some takeout, and he brought me a chicken box. I'm hoping there's a second one as well. So, KP, strap in. We're going to have a long night together. Very nice. So, boys, get your popcorn, especially between games. You will be here a while. So now, with the horse numbers, Myriad can double down, try to get some damage done, but at the same time, you also, as Byzantines, don't just want to rely on the fact that you have horses that they're pretty great. Ooh, hello, longbowmen coming on in. So, they're pretty great, but you need to be able to micro them well. And Myriad, I'm not taking anything away from him, but he tends to stay a bit too long and take a little bit too much damage. Sometimes with his horses. So I'm a little worried about this being the main composition if he decides that it is.
Yeah, the weird part is it's not an APM issue. Myriad is on the higher end of the spectrum of APM. He's very high. But, there's like a difference between APM, meaningful APM. It's kind of like, I describe with him a spit of the Dota brain. Like, I play Dota like that as well. It's like click, 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 click. There's like 2 types of players. There's that type, and then there's one that's slow click. And I could tell straight away that he was the former. It just means like sometimes you're just overusing actions to express what you're doing in a fight. And that can be very weird when you're over jittery with the horseman, right? Just like to your point, leaves you in range for longer. Ends up backfiring at the same time you're failing to actually do actions elsewhere on the map.
Now, those villagers are desperately trying to get a house up, and I know that feel when things get a little pop-capped, it does feel urgent. Ali, though, he's got a pretty heavy amount of units here already, and with the amount of horses he has, this is not going to be easy for those longbows. Myriad needs to be careful not to overstep, and the horses of his are all the way in China right now. Literally, because on the other side of the map, and in the Chinese almost base very soon. But they're trying to find some damage. Currently going around. He's going to be able to spot those villagers at the back very soon. And then he's going to know where he needs to attack.
Yeah, I gotta say, you know, Central Asia and Asia Minor looks really small when you think about the distance between the two areas on this map. But I don't really think about the game in that way. I did this, just imagine it from that religious standpoint. Like, so these two civilizations just decided to turn up into no man's land and fight. Pretty much. Horsemen now going to be scared away, by the way. The longbow count is already at 10. I think if Gullyd wants to all-in attack, he's going to need to be a lot faster about this, because when that count gets to 20, you don't really feel like you have an entry point anymore.
And him going for his archers himself, that's going to be pretty great at picking these off, but they are going to be used for those Limitanei. Now, the Limitanei, they handle these attacks pretty well, considering we have 6 of them against 5 horses. That should keep it pretty balanced. And if Myriad doesn't invest any more and just goes castle, the amounts we see from Gullyd3ck3l is going to need to increase here, but that's exactly what's happening. Gully's still investing in horses, still investing in spears, and Myriad looking straight ahead at the castle.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, we shouldn't be surprised by this. It's what Byzantine players try to do every night, isn't it? Just fast castle, 11 minutes, feels good. Golden Horn Tower with level 5 system is a crazy strong power.
Check the raid! Check the raid! Check the raid! Red
on
raid!
the empty goals?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, dead archer. Rest in peace.
Wow! F that guy in particular. Like, the rest of you are fine, but we just really hate that one archer. Here we go. He moves in. He's a thirsty boy. This Gully doesn't want war. It's just he can't find a drink. He's ran across the entire map. So he's going to be looking to gulp down that cistern. Myriad is going to start poking with the longbows. He's just trying to intercept and slow down the pro scout timing.
Now, with that, it's going to be so important to actually try to deny this as much as possible, because those deer that are spread around the floor, they need to be manually clicked. Especially with all those scouts, this is not going to be an easy thing, especially if he keeps his opponent busy, which he has been doing. The horse micro, so far on point. I'm hopeful. Myriad, keep it going. Now, he does have the resources needed to go castle in a moment, but we still need to keep this pressure up. The moment he goes castle, this gives an opening to Gully to attack. So the most important is ensuring he keeps...
Well, that moment to attack is right now, Marika.
Yes.
So to your point, he needs to keep pressure. I'd tick that box. Like, that felt like quite the overreaction by Gully, pulling everyone home.
And he getting all of those units back here just means that he has a little bit of time to get his upgrades. The units now trying to push back, but they stop for a second, and every second they stop means an extra bit of breathing room for Myriad. Myriad needs, I would say, an extra 10 seconds to just get those upgrades in and actually make this matter. With this, he should be able to get a few cataphracts in and respond to anything that Gully puts on offer. But Gully himself, he could switch to castle pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's infamous play for Chinese, right? Especially the pro scouts, just to regurgitate lances out. But I wouldn't be surprised to see cataphracts from Myriad. Like, katas are surprisingly effective in this type of matchup. Just have to make sure you have the raw economy to keep the numbers pumping.
Now, he has enough for 2 of them, getting the upgrades for those longbows as well. And now he's got to ask himself what is going to be priority. As Gully is closing in on that front side, now we see the yellow dots absolutely going everywhere. The horse is being sacrificed to just keep Gully's army busy, and Gully going for castle himself.
And it's clearly going to be clocked. Nah, I mean, let's be totally real. Imperial Palace all the way. Really good on this type of map as well, just because it gives you protection via earlier warnings in what is expected to be a heavy cav mosh pit. Other cool thing, map like this, Byzantines typically either have to go mass olive groves early or they start to spread out fast. That means you can just snitch on it. You get the Imperial scouting ability with your Imperial Palace to just see where they all are, and it gives prime target locations for what is presumably going to be mass lancers.
Now, with the cataphract numbers slowly increasing, Gully will not have an answer to this anytime soon. I'm excited to see if he decides to go for a +2 range defense upgrade here as well, but Gully not constantly reinforcing these numbers. Imperial Palace has been finished. UI just a few seconds behind there, but he has the resources in the bank to do something with this and instantly clicks up those lancers. Scout gets picked off. It's still a heavy amount of archers, but he has to ask himself, what is important here? How am I going to keep making units?
Well, it's Myriad. I mean, we just trust the Golden Horn Tower. That's all we need.
All you need is Horn Tower. Du-du-du-du-du-du.
Yeah, you just need this ginormous tower. It will produce everything you ever need. Like, we just get to 50 longbows. What's Gullyd gonna do? Build a nest of bees? those don't get built anymore. Those aren't real things.
Oh, with all this mobility in the army, who needs a little nest of bees? Now, Myriad...
Seriously, it's like...
Yeah.
I think this might be like the hardest matchup to try and nest the bees in. Because of the
all
catters.
horses. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, wow, look, that big army in my way. Press one button.
Now, something to keep in mind here, Gullyd didn't have the gold to get the upgrades on his units. I think the archers might be veteran, but the other units of his are not there just yet. So this could be a pretty good moment for Myriad to try and make a connection here with all the villagers being here on the front gold. It does look like the Gathers are feeling a little feisty, but the spearmen are getting focused down. Spears at the front here as well, sniping at those horsemen like they're made of paper.
It's because they are. They have not been vetted, as you identified. The Lancers try to slip in as well, but the Catter count is going to be good enough. The Spearmen follow up now. Min-range trample there, just to try and pull away slightly from Myriad. And this rate, he'll just be able to casually click down this army with Lombos. So Gullyd is trying to address that right now. Just target firing archers onto the LBs. Catter count still looking pretty good, though, right? Like 8 against 5 Lancers, and not many Spearmen left to boot here for Gullyd. He will have to reset.
And Gullyd may have extended a little bit too far. The longbows have been picked off, quite a significant amount of them. But I don't know if this is going to be enough. The Katas, we can see they're about ready to charge. So them getting on top of these archers could be catastrophic. And we click on one to just see. Oh, I don't know if the UI
I think they've had it this whole time. Yeah, like the trample cooldown is very short. So a little bit surprised he didn't go for it sooner. He might have just been respecting the overwhelming firepower of like just a few crossbowmen against like the health bars. I think he's just more importantly just trying to hug these lombos as much as possible. Yeah, Myriad is essentially using it more as a safety play to retreat than an engage. But after these archers are gone, I see a very clear target to engage here.
The one right up top, right?
Yeah,
look,
they even came closer again. How nice of them to stay in range.
Wow.
Gullyd, he's moving away now, but there's already vision around the back. Myriad can just chase this. A lot of cannons going down because they're all 1 HP bars, but at the same time, Gullyd, where are his lances? He's got 2
lances?
of them.
That's past tense in this case. They are all past tense. As all the villagers...
There is 2 of them. Somewhere.
Yeah. Dealing with the 2 Katas on the front side, the TC firing at the longbows, and the longbow numbers are decreasing, but Gullyd ran out of food. So he might still be at 1.2k for now, but that is about to plummet as all the deer, almost all the deer, expired, and the villagers are completely idle. Now, the longbows do get picked off quite a bit here, but there's still so many of them. That TC now firing at a Kata, and that's not what you want to be killing in this scenario, but morecatas.com. He says, subscribe to all of it, as 8 cataphracts in this army is going to make a massive difference. Villagers desperately trying to get any form of resource, but it's just going to be so difficult.
Yeah, at this point, they're going to give up their jobs as workers and take up a job as a funeral parlor, because there's just so many bodies to bury here, man. Gullyd, like you highlighted, his food income abysmal. He calls the GG. The longbow still too strong in his base. Myriad, a potent start with the Byzantines in this qualifying series.
Now, for those of you wondering why we're going to be making cigarettes and smoking jokes for the next while, is because Myriad, he is a man who smokes very often. Between games, during games, after games, during casts, before casts, after casts. And after this one, he deserves one. I just wanted to say that. So Myriad, good job. And we'll see you in the next lobby.
I'm gonna actually just throw him on the bus. He was also responsible for a broadcast day slow on the start, shall we say, as some players hadn't appeared yet because they went on a smoke break, and then I think they ran out of cigarettes and needed to get more.
Oh,
so yeah, he's...
Yes, that sounds like Myriad.
Actually, I think that was the same day where they went to get food at the worst possible time. Someone listening to this is having PTSD about it right now. Yeah, it was Myriad's a character, I'll give him that. And what is this? English pick coming through for Holy Island.
Ooh. Again, Sushi as well. Sushi is Civ that has never shied away from a good old water map, because we know with a little imperial official like the CCP, they're always watching. ensuring that the citizens are working hard, getting all the wood into all of the land, and that's exactly what we will be expecting from here. Gully getting a pretty good serve, but English, we've seen it pull off some pretty crazy plays, especially with the fact that when you play English on this map, you get a land unit, and it forces your opponent to invest on land. It slows them down a little bit on the water, and can easily throw games one way or the other. But Holy Island is not a map that these players are playing too often.
Yeah, I mean, Sushi used to just be the bread and butter thing you had to ban here, right? But like, there's been so many higher priorities recently, focus on land and hybridization of certain civs. You know, they've just kind of been slipping through. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, the previous series. Sushi ban on both sides. When does that happen anymore? Like, it's just not the case. But I do like the way that Gully kind of drafted towards this. Like, French could be just as much of a nuisance for like an English pick. Order the Dragon Sniper, it's interesting that he prioritizes that as a preference over English, because I feel like there is a land attack here that's really strong against Sushi, with either like a small longbow opening or even just the king.
Now, when I get into a matchup like this, I still feel like at this level, we're not seeing the same type of water play as we saw with games between Marine Lord, Puppy Paw, Vortex, because they're so used to playing these water maps and so experienced at it. So with these two, I do expect them to prioritize water, but at the same time, at this rank, we often just see people still having a chance on land, even when the water goes completely haywire. So that's what makes this so interesting. Last week as well, we saw on this map some players, I think it was Myriad actually, completely foregoing the water aggression and just focusing on the land. And it was absolutely crazy, because the moment he did engage on water, things went out of control. But now
That
for the
was
rest...
That was French Order the Dragon, right? Numidan OOTD, and then we had Myriad on French, and Numidan had I think it was Order the Dragon or HRE. Like, I can't remember. It was a very weird Dark Age rush. I know the one you're talking about. So yeah, like he's definitely no stranger to this. I'm curious about how much prep Gully has on this, because Holy Island hasn't really been a fixation point recently for pros.
And the fact that we're looking at this, Gully is the guy who chose this map. Keep in mind, the loser chooses the next map. So Gully says, hey, water, I actually have a plan. So picking this against an opponent that you saw win this last week, you must be feeling pretty brave. Or Gully has been practicing something we don't know about. So, KP, do you have Holy Island in your map pool?
Nope.
Okay. Okay.
I made a quick answer. I'm a businessman. I've noticed when you bring water maps in, usually the viewership goes down a bit. Holy Island's like an interesting one, but I think it's just like, I personally find it interesting. I think if you're just if you're a more casual follower of AoE4, whatever, it disengages the brain a bit, which is unfortunate, because Holy Island is probably, if we're being totally realistic, the only truly good water map that we have in AoE4.
And it is usually quite balanced as well, with the deep sea fish boarding pretty evenly, usually. But now that I look at this, I'm seeing Myriad with a very close deep sea fish. And on the other side, Gully, if we can take a quick look, he needs to put his dock a significant far way out compared to Myriad, who just could rally downwards to try and get that deep sea fish. So sure, they both have one pretty close by, but one has to work a little bit harder for his catch today.
Myriad's is substantially better. He's like his spawn, because if you look at it, he's got double close, and then the second dock you can place a little bit south here, and it's going to connect nicely with this follow-up to fish, right? But then have a look at Gully's by comparison. So he gets one, maybe ever so slightly closer, much further, and then much further on the southern one. So like, he can kind of balance it out by going for a 4 dock here, but realistically, he's still going to be feeling like he's one fish worse off than Myriad.
Now, with this scouting pattern, we can say Gully might just come out very much ahead here, where there's still a ton of sheep, not fish. Fish are in the waters, guys, just to be clear. But there's a lot of sheep behind the base of Myriad, and Gully is the one absolutely cleaning up behind his base. Myriad then going to be trailing his scout And I wonder if Gullyd, when he sees that scout of Myriad, if he is going to be able to go and punish him for it. Picks up most of the sheep here at the top, and we do see it already favoring Gullyd. Now Myriad trying to make his way back and possibly going for his own sheep. No. He believes in the scouting pattern, I think.
This is a man who doesn't believe he'll lose water. And, you know, he is playing English, so it's kind of it's not the craziest statement to make.
Yeah.
I mean, English is a very polarizing one, I think. When you get out of, like, the top 12, I wouldn't be surprised to see them have a better success rate on this map. Because the idea is if you're giving a little bit of breathing room, you will get the extra range. And the extra range is, like, an insane advantage. It can force bad fights so simply. So, you know, at absolute peak levels, we see it's actually difficult for English to hit that because the maths of it is you may get +1 tile range on your boats, but now you have one less boat. That's a pretty big difference early on.
Now, Myriad just trying to optimize every bit of movement with these villagers, not only now going onto the gold, and I've been pretty evenly timed here. I wonder, is he even going to go for any gold? Because very often, Sushi players don't even go for gold on these maps. And they just use the passive gold they're going to be getting from the taxes. Oof, that villager already getting spiced up. Now, this is a very interesting play to me, because at this level, I would say between the top 12 and about the top 24, we often see players underreact to this type of aggression, where the villager is taking quite a bit of damage here and not pulling them back in time for that age up. So, or when the aggression starts coming. So Myriad taking a bit of damage here.
He's fine. You can go down to like 25 HP and be content here. Like, all you have to do is bring your scout over like this. Once the tech up is heard from your opponent, you'll want to think about pulling back, because that's when new threats arrive, right? But yeah, I think he has the right idea. Like, just get the double dock at least before you have to retreat. Good idea by Gullyd. But, I mean, Myriad, he got back in time, despite the fact that there's still a bunch of sheep available. But like we said, if you win water, you don't need the sheep.
Exactly. And with him getting a king, that villager is going to go home and have a lovely time just getting healed up. I have a question about that, KP. Those sheep right there, they're not under the TC. I've had instances where mine get converted all the way out there. Is it just because they were attached to the mining camp?
Like, if they're close enough to the mining camp, it shouldn't be a problem, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
It's a bit weird, right? Because like there's technically there's gather drop-off buildings that count, and then other buildings that are a little bit finicky. There's also, wait, okay, he's going for the big boy one. Yeah, this is like this is Holy Island for you. This is why you pick Sushi. So that's gonna be over 100 resources. That's gonna be up 120 resources, Medi Garden. So really nice. Also, the stone is really good because of the emplacements you'll gradually get on your docks.
And getting that little bit of an advantage on water is massive for Sushi, because with this you're just investing a little bit less, and you're basically 3 villages up at this stage of the game. So it does feel pretty good, especially when this early game is so important here on water. Myriad, though, he's aging up with 6, trying to kind of match the age up timing, because we know that Sushi, they can age up very, very quickly, especially with 4 villages. And the water is going to be the big question mark. How many ships do I need to respond with?
Oh, ship opening, as expected. You know, when you get these type of tech timings, it's always the good go-to, because there should be a count ship in play yet. So with the way Myriad stockpiling resources, maybe he anticipates this and just goes for a Springald ship straight away. Usually it's safer to open Archer ship, because if you see a Springald, you can run away. And if there's a demo follow-up, you're not in trouble. So yeah, there you go. Archer and Archer.
And instantly going for a double broad axe, getting that to make sure that he kind of tries to keep up with Gullyd, but with that supervision. That's the beauty of Sushi, right? You supervise the lumber camp, you get more resources, and your upgrades are so fast. Now Gullyd, he knows about the king trouble that he will be facing pretty soon, instantly walls up, and this is a very conservative and safe play, and a lot of players underreact to the king, thinking that they will be fine. Rather forgoing another production or another boat on the water, rather ensuring that his wood is safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a bit disappointed. I saw a transpo ship for a moment there from Myriad. It was just a misclick. I'm heartbroken. I thought we were getting some cheeky like bulk shenanigans, because the transport ships are kind of interesting because they can bait a lot of aggro onto them and they don't have a direct counter. It's like early on It's not a terrible idea. We used to see that on Moving Out. It's like the transport ship would then come and fight with the Navy because it had nothing else to do, but it actually absorbed a lot of shots.
Okay, B. Investing this early into fishing lines, that feels quite dangerous here for Gullyd. So Gullyd feeling quite confident here on the water. Usually, you don't want to be spending that amount of resources on anything except for making pure boats.
And he's got 14 fishing, so I can kind of see the thought process here. But it is dangerous for the initial timing. Like, technically, Myriad could have used that to get into his extra range, which also would have been kind of damning. He's going to show up the 1-1-1. Stables gets intercepted. This is really frustrating. Like, he does have the hand slits, so you'll eventually have to shift away. But the out of time definitely stings a bit, considering Myriad fords with Springolds. And Gullyd's in a position where he actually needs a demo now to try and contest this.
Now, Myriad is making yet another Springold ship, and this is looking like a bit of a mirror with regards to the composition, except for that little demo ship that can turn the tide significantly. We do see the scout trying to decrease the amount of value he gets from these resources, but with these boats, Myriad, he probably has a pretty narrow timing to really outscale Sushi here, because now there's horsemen on the way, and Gullyd is not going to stay in his base with the horses.
No, I mean, the ponies need to get active, especially considering Myriad. You have to remember, the civ he's playing does nothing against horsemen. Like the villagers. The villagers with the short bows, it's just a dream come true when you play ponies into them, because they only have 5 damage, and you mitigate a lot of that. So your only option is to switch spears. Could actually open Gullyd to do some like Chew plus horsemen to try and end this on land.
Now, Myriad is getting... Is that the extra range? I think he's getting the extra range. And getting his tower on gold as well. He knows that there is going to be some pressure here. So ensuring that he does not get overwhelmed by this on water. Going to be trying to kite backwards with this and producing as much as he possibly can. The king knows he's not going to get any damage done just yet. Just focuses on that meditation garden. But double demo ship coming now from Gullyd3ck3l. And this is usually where things get a little bit too spicy, especially when you don't have enough galleys to try and snipe them down.
And on top of that, he's securing himself on the land so that Myriad doesn't have to really think about that much. So he's going to try to hyperfixate in on this. I'm the one demo who makes this awkward, though. You know, the Springald scaling does make a lot of sense. This matchup is curious, actually, because like one side should be looking to mass demo and the other one should be looking to mass Springald because of the extra range.
Ooh, and those perfectly sniped out a demo. Apparently the number you need is 5, and it looked beautiful. Look at that one range just coming in, doing so much work, but the demos are getting very close and he's not moving. The galleys need to be working backwards, and perfect snipe here coming from Myriad. Absolutely incredible.
Demo does connect onto one of the Springald ships. Myriad, actually, it's kind of unfortunate it's the end of the formation. It gets pathed into the shoreline. So good little strike in there for Gullyd. He needed some value for that many demos, but you see what I mean. This extra range, this is what English does so well. If they can control the narrative and keep pressing, you're just gradually losing the game. Because unless you can get one insane demo pull to just wipe the fleet, you're always going to lose the range trade.
And this is exactly what Gullyd did not want to be fighting, a range trade. He wants to be on top of him, try to close the gap as easily as possible, but it just doesn't seem to be the case. Myriad using those boats perfectly. And honestly, I really want to see a demo just making it through to see if he can snipe it out, and it really is going to matter. There is some action on the wood line as well, as Gullyd is trying to distract and make this a little bit harder, but the short bows, they clean him up pretty quickly, as predicted.
Yeah, that was... I mean, like, it's not good damage, but the thing is, his whole eco on land is there, right? It's like 30 short bows is a lot against only 1-2 horsemen. Gullyd trying to go wider now, but I mean, the micro just isn't really there. He's just rallied them out to their death. That was just a waste of resources.
And
is he trying to go castle?
Numbers. Oof. And Beastie told me one time, the guy who goes castle first on any water map is the one that loses the game. So this is a very risky move. He needs to keep producing. We can see with 1,200 wood in the bank, this man has everything he needs to keep fighting on water, except for the ships. He just doesn't have any ships.
Oh, good thing he's got 1,200 wood because he's going to start needing more docks at this rate. I mean, it's just a bit of a polarizing play. Sushi do get the tech up cheaper. Like, actually, funnily enough, that discovery that he who goes castle first loses was made when we had a lot of play on like Warring Islands type maps, and that was when the Sushi meta was starting to be discovered, where they were kind of getting away with fast tech plays, and even for them, it began to backfire. Myriad, oh, he already is aware. The archer ships move across. Remember, they got the extra range; they can intercept easy peasy. Mountain Academy now on the way, but the price of entry feels pretty high. This feels like a man who's about to lose water in the next 2 minutes.
Now, we've seen that this doesn't always mean the game instantly, so Gully will be giving up the water, but this just means that those extra extra sheep he got in the early game is going to matter here. So fishing boats are about to go deliver their last bit of loot before all dying off. Now, Myriad's whole army is here on water. He's slowly trying to transition that to a few spears as well on land to just ensure that the horsemen that he saw earlier won't be a problem. But the thing is, now they will be lancers. We do see those fishing ships just trying their best to get a little bit more food, but now Myriad is going to have the best economy possible.
Just, this is the difference the range makes. This is the type of siege down you only feel confident in once your castle, right? Because you get too close and demos hit you. The extra +1 can never be taken for granted here. So full easy denial. Doesn't even have to wait around and let extra eco come in. Myriad should be looking for a white tower play here. The first lancers haven't hit the field yet for Gully. He's starting to supervise for them. Myriad has started adding a few spearmen. Double racks, in fact, to secure and double outposts. The food income has plummeted, but that's because I think he's about to have a big drop-off from all the fishing.
You might need to force that at this point because those lancers are coming in quickly. And he has 2 spears, but that's it. And a king, of course. There goes the king. He tickles those lancers just a little bit. Scout takes half his HP. Just getting looked at funny. And Scout does go down. But now with 2 spears, this is not the position you want to be in. And you can see Myriad, he's going to start panicking any second now.
It's 4 spears now. Ooh. Gully horses on the way very early for Gully, actually, but he has the production rates to justify it. When you're at like 10 of these cavalry units, Gully horses is definitely a worthwhile investment. And he wanted to go blacksmiths already because he needs the undermesh for the dive.
With these lances, I feel like he's playing it a little bit too passive. He doesn't realize what type of power position he's in. And Myriad is desperately just trying to get a little bit of food to get this done. But this far forward also feels a little bit risky. He's going to have access to the deer here, protect a little bit of that wood line, but at what cost? These lances are going to make his life a living hell in the next few moments. We do see some villages already falling, but fishing
You
might
just have
make
to
up for
commit.
this.
Yeah, you have to commit. Like, if you back off here, you're just pretty much conceding games. So he'll probably lose like 10 workers. But as long as the white tower goes up with fishing behind this, you're definitely still in the game. So white tower to complete. Lancers will feel like they've overextended a bit, so Gully starts to bracket them off early. But you can definitely still see that the Reaper came in strong there. I think that was 12 workers in the end on that dive.
And the problem is, now these horses are just going to look for other places to raid. Now sure, the water is his, but he needs to make some units on land. And Juganu are already being the follow-up here. Crossbows now being queued up, but you need a lot more than crossbows. Here, we do see a lot of food being supervised, but he needs to also find a way to move out onto other food sources. Now, +1 being researched for Myriad as well is going to mean we're probably going to see a lot more ranged units in this composition, or just a heavy reliance on this white tower.
Yeah, you can anchor there for a bit. The secondary gold's close as well. So, you know, he definitely has safe, secure economy for the time being. It's the wood line actually is the one concern here, which realistically he shouldn't need much of at this stage.
Now, when you are a man attacking a main TC, this does feel like a statement. And apparently that statement is, these horses I shall sacrifice into the spears, and they will bring their value, look at them go, into the spears, under the TC, barely breaking a sweat.
Okay, so this is a race now. He understands the state of the fishing and what it means to the long game. Doesn't want to play the long game. So Siege Workshop now coming down. He's trying to catch Myriad before he's up to like, 20 crossbows with maybe 10 spearmen, because that's a scary point for Gully, even though he's floating lances. Because you don't want to dive a base when there's that many crossbows, and just a few spearmen that stop you reaching them easily.
Now I do see Myriad just trying to get more and more fishing, but he's actually really struggling with that wood. He knows that it's a limited resource, and with him, ooh, he does pick off a lancer here, and this is massive. Just picking off one means you are actually getting into a position where your opponent will not be able to replenish anytime soon. Now, we can see that with Gullyd having 0 villagers on food. He's probably just going to go migrate to another berry patch and try to get back into this. We do have our first trebuchet coming in now, but Gullyd, he's looking for some damage, and he needs to find it.
Smart idea as well. Just try and deny undermeshes from coming in. Now that you've revealed the Tube New, it's your biggest weakness. That being said, Myriad can actually still counter Tube with that. Armor-clads into men-at-arms upgrades makes them beefy enough that the Tube play becomes trivial.
Well, the gold is running very thin there. Luckily for him, there's a white tower protecting the other one just out there. Now the trebuchet is going to start firing at him, but he has to keep in mind, this one trebuchet is not going to be able to do too much for now. He needs to get another one. And relics play now coming in. Gullyd finally going for some of those relics too.
Yeah, I like the confidence which Gullyd just parked himself here as well, because I think he put the Siege Workshop in vision of the White Tower before he even started producing. It's almost like he was just trying to goad Myriad to come out. Okay, no, not at all. I thought it was a little bit closer. So yeah, secret reveal then in that case, and double outpost. I like this as opposed to just trying to gather for a keep. It's such an expensive investment. You just want something that makes a dive a bit of a deterrent. And it's not like Myriad can rush a dive anyway. Like, he's full infantry comp. And also fast running out of gold.
Now, with him not having that gold, he's going to need to move down. And every single time he needs to move out, he's spending wood. And I want you guys to notice, he's only got 3 on the wood. That's going to mean that this white tower he's hoping to repair is going to be very, very costly. So, getting a few more out there to try and keep this thing alive, he wants to make sure that this fishing eco is doing the talking, and he actually has the time to make this matter. Another minute on being queued up now, right there from the white tower. Or was it just it's just the crossbow. The overlay, just a few seconds behind it every single time. Now, 4 trebuchets. KP, this is no longer repairable. This is difficult.
No, and the wood safety is also a problem, right? Myriad, I don't know if this is enough to hold, especially what Gullyd just done. It's a Springald switch. Like, Springald's cracks this wide open.
The problem is, Gullyd is staying up to date with all of this. He's depleting every bit of food source on the map. And this is exactly why this map is not an instant loss when you lose the water. You still have access to all of the food sources, and they are plentiful on this map. We can still see a lot. So it's going to be a long time before Gullyd3ck3l really runs dry and slows down. Well, this fishing was just another bit of investment that Myriad had to make, and slowing him down from constantly producing. Slowly but surely, he's just doing more damage. And we do see a few units now going up. Try and find some of those villagers looking for wood elsewhere.
Yeah, still a urgently push type feeling here for Gullyd as it scales a bit, because remember, the fishing does matter. You can see it in the food difference, actually. 408 versus 1,000. And you know that's going to gradually scale because Myriad's still being a bit greedy getting the fishing in. So definitely the onus on Gullyd to push. Realistically, he should. You know, the army value is somewhat similar, but the unit types are critical here. Myriad doesn't have a solid, easy way of dealing with the siege.
You say they're similar, but there's a 2,000 of resource difference between these two. They might look even in count, but... Oh.
Yeah, well, because now that you think about it, like, a lot of this army value is water. So Gullyd must have, like, close to a double up, actually. A nice raid there. Just claps onto the back line. Myriad, he has to give over more of his forward base, which now poses a bigger question. You've got wood. Where are you getting gold?
And even if he's not getting gold, he needs to make units. There are no production buildings, proper production buildings left. Elimination victory getting closer. We see another landmark on fire, and this feels pretty tough. Myriad needs to find a way to get at least a ton of spears to make something happen, but they will evaporate with the Juggernaut, and the Springalds just plowing right through. Myriad now sneakily going for a little bit of extra gold, but these trebuchets, they are just too scary, and I don't know if there's an answer to getting on top of them.
Yeah, it's just so many easy targets between the production. Also, all these houses would be prime targets, considering that Myriad hasn't really deleted any of his boats, so he could just pop block himself. Instead, Gullyd's in a rush. You know, he's another young lad. He's probably got a time that he has to be off the PC by. So Treb's going to move in to go for the landmark victory, which will force Myriad into action.
But it does look like Gully is a little bit worried about his position here. He knows he lost water. He doesn't realize how far ahead he is in army supply. And that's the beauty of the land. If you underestimate the land, it becomes very hairy very quickly. Myriad trying to produce as much as he can. He's got 28 men-at-arms, and honestly, it feels like a lot, but with the amount of springles you're up against, it still feels like a tough time. Now a keep being dropped in the base, and Gully, the man, feels confident. He just needs to pull more vills. Morevills.com have arrived.
And he's created choke points. They make it more awkward for Myriad to try and engage. So we'll start to spread out the workers. Lining up around the castle of the drop. There's no way you can stop this. It's just so fast to come up. There's going to be a backstab attempt from a small group of men-at-arms. Not going to work out. The Nest of Bees able to shoot those shots. The Springles find the alignments to get on top of those men-at-arms. And with a castle drop in, it feels like a destined end to the English attempt on this map. That's the anchor point he needs. The trebuchets still sieging into the town center. His town center now smoking more than Myriad does. And no way for him to come back in this.
Gully with the landmark elimination victory, and now we see why Gully chose this map. He knew where he needed to focus, and he knew the land was going to be a little bit of an underestimation. Military value lead, as we know, mostly on water. So Myriad's military just could not keep up with the amount of units coming out of Sushi.
Means we will not be at risk of a stomperoo. That's what you want to see for a qualifying series. I mean, we've had that consistency, right? No one has just been barrel rolled over completely on this second qualifier. Just shows you how kind of tight the series are. Even when you start to talk about the fact we already have 16 players qualified through. Oh, sorry, no, 12. Our brain.
So these two fighting for those two final spots, and after that game, Myriad is probably getting himself another smoke and going from there. Now, Frisian Marshes, the next one. We saw how Gully felt about a little bit of war on a map, but how does he feel? Yeah, how does he feel about little ponds instead? So Myriad getting not Malians, but Sengoku, and yes, finally recognizing the flags correctly, and HRE on the other side. And honestly, after seeing HRE today, I'm excited to see what they're going to be pulling off here.
Yeah, HRE could just kind of go for like a Dark Age rush. A lot of civs don't like doing this against Sengoku's Yatais because they're stupidly tanky. But HRE has a better economy to do so, and the spin move faster, so it's easier for them to just run down Yatais and kill them. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way that we see the HRE played by Gully. Just maybe 2 to 4 spammer maximum. Sometimes you're hesitant because you don't really want to encourage Yuumi play, but I think HRE is one of the exceptions because their archers are basically just better versions of Yuumi. And the price difference, not as high as it once was, if you remember, because they did actually nerf Yuumi cost not too long ago.
Now, this does look like an insane last battle, though. I just want to take a moment to look at how those men-at-arms try to get around and get on top of the siege. But those Jugunu just absolutely cleaning everything with the Springles, plowing through that front line. Beautiful play here by Gully. And this just brings me to the situation of imagining what Gully could do with an HRE army to keep you under control. Myriad, he looked so good after winning that water fight. But Gully knew what goes into a transition after that. Is that something that he understands here as well with the HRE? Understanding that limit power that this civilization can wield when they get a little bit of breathing room. But Sengoku, you know, Sengoku be Sengokuing. Yeah,
they're pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, like,
pretty good.
You know, it's like Regnitz is probably still the better Castle Age landmark, but Sake Brewery really not far behind, and it doesn't have the same requirements that makes Regnitz constricted at times. Then the unit types, like it's kind of interesting to think if we get mine work, actually, you can kind of compete with the mounted samurai. Still not great because of that attack speed or from the daimyo, but the armor at least allows you to kind of brawl, and I think more HRE players have been respecting and appreciating that element of HRE recently.
Foregoing a mine work on such a thick wood line at the back feels pretty rough, but I can see the value in it. It's so easily covered by just putting a prelate there at the back. So we will have to see if feudal will begin, because Gully, he's starting things off pretty heavily with a barracks placed down. Now Myriad, on the other hand, how is he going to respond? This is a pretty standard opening when you're up against Sengoku, who loves to just sit back and eco up. So with him going for that Matsuri, he is going to try and make as many yatais as possible. But is Gully giving him that breathing room? Let's take a quick look at the gold spawns. It looks like they are next to each other on that side. So a tower rush would be very worthy.
Yeah, Myriad seems to be aware of the threat. Like, dropping Forge this early might just try and pivot and react into, like, a rushed gold gathering. But you'd have to be really fast to do this. Like, you know, Gullyd3ck3l and this HRE are just vicious with their Dark Age timing. Better economy early on, and then also the added benefit of the movement speed means they arrive quicker than most civs on average.
Now, I would love to see what this is going to look like as a response from Myriad, because a lot of people would say, okay, in this case, I'm just going to go for a tower and I'll outlast this. It's fine. He's going to need to invest so much more than I will. But those villagers are still chopping wood, and I am a little worried here that this is just going to mean we are going to get more spearmen pouring out to the map on that side. Although there is enough resources for one, but Gullyd3ck3l goes trying to get it. Oh, 4 villagers on wood now. I think it might just be the water transition from here on out.
Could make a lot of sense. Especially when he sees there's only 1 on gold. Like, I mean, can you build quick enough? No. But can you force him to rush gold gathering before he needs it? Abso-freaking-lutely. As he has to pull 5 out. And even then, like, you see the efficiency of, like, 1 by 1 pulling back. He's actually going to 2 separate golds to try and guarantee he just doesn't get blocked out by the double spear timing. I love that. Gully, he is going to path over there because with the movement speed, if you get the pathing right, you could actually easily get a kill here.
Oh, and some of these villagers are getting real low. That's the beauty of getting this damage done here. Sengoku doesn't have an answer to just being like, hey, I'm going to heal these bad boys up. You need to wait to castle. And by that point, you already have a unit that can handle diving under a TC and taking down low HP villagers. So Myriad only gets 225 gold, which again means that we are in a position where his gold is not really going to align with what Sengoku wants, especially at this point of the game. And Myriad does still have 1 villager on wood, so I'm assuming he's just going to go for yet another yatai. Yes, second yatai now queued up and going to be going onto another food source. But he keeps these quite safe at home so that the spearmen don't take them down.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 spearmen. You could just actually say to hell with it and kind of move out. Because 370 HP doesn't disappear very fast. But you know, second yatai up towards the deer berry location can be invaluable. Normally on this map, you're thinking about going for the boar, but you have to reassess that when it is a Dark Age rushing civ. Because, you know, if it is 4 spears total, 5 spears most definitely, you can just pin a yatai and kill it.
Now that second yatai needs to move out, otherwise he's just not going to get the value he needs. But this scout bringing back a lot of sheep to make this other yatai just get you what you need here. And we see a pretty standard age up here for the Quokka Township coming on forward so that he can actually have an answer to killing off these spearmen when he eventually makes something himself. Now, we are going to see Gullyd3ck3l slowly move into going to a feudal age timing in 2. As we see, he's got 416 food already, and now the only thing he needs is that good load of gold. So the villagers all moving out there quite a bit to try and speed things up.
Mein Werk, mein Werk.
It might just work, yeah.
Yeah,
What are we going to see? No, I can't do a German accent. I don't know why. It's the one thing I can't do. Yeah.
So you got to be efficient to make sure that you get the good farming up of the fish. But once you've done that, it's all just about the pump. And you can afford that with all the fishing. Mindfuck becomes quite feasible. All right, that'll be enough.
This is so weird. KP, the way you do accents inspire me to get better. So I appreciate that. Very nice. Kamp, yeah. Kamp is that you, yeah. So those villagers
We could probably just turn it into crackety. We just need to make sure when like China's playing, we're screaming bees constantly, and I think we're good to go.
Another keep! I can't. I tried it before, but my throat just cannot handle the amount of screech that comes out of Crackly. He's got a specific talent. Now,
Yeah,
he
the
does
problem is we don't swear. We're good people. We don't swear on cards, so we can't actually perfectly emulate how he feels about keeps and bees.
That's true. That's true. You need
That's
to have the
Arkan.
passion,
Oh, come
the
on.
passion and the vocabulary. Yeah, exactly, Arkan. But it's because Gully, he sees that wood line, he appreciates the wood line, he says, this is my wood line, yeah. And he is going to take that all for himself, get that predator inside, get all the wood he needs, which is not a lot. Let's be fair. This is HRE. HRE, they're going to have a good time with any unit they decide to go for. But when you are up against some archers, you don't mind playing the archer game, do you now?
It's like Yumi is a desirable here, right? Like when you were playing against your counter unit, it's perfect. And also just the Yari. This is pretty much Sengoku's like 1-2 pump of popularity. Like it's actually better than the Japanese variant. You know, for multiple reasons. The estates buffs you up. It gives you very clear power spikes, especially around like the Yumi with the +1 damage, which just turns you into regular archers. Like just a lot of interesting elements that make Sengoku feel much better than Japan and feudal. And the cherry on top is always those grenades. Ninjas just coming out, springing a trap, just ruins everything for you.
Wait, are we getting double daimyo coming out this early on in the game?
I think wait, is he? Surely not.
No, it's just horsemen. Oh, it's just horsemen looking like that.
Wait, what are you...
Oh my goodness.
No, no. Wait. You
I was
confused the
about
crap
to
out of me.
say.
No. Oh, you mean the icon? Yeah, that's a Yari icon. Yeah.
Okay. No, never mind. There we go.
Like, I don't know how.
completely
Like, let me
confused.
rewind the replay. How has he done this?
Yes. I'm like, is this the most amazing build? That's just a horseman, guys. Calm
like
down. I know you got excited like I
It's like
did.
the first time. It's like the first time in a cast, I would legitimately just go, I think he must be cheating. There's no way he can afford 2 estates already. What the hell?
Now, he does have the units here to actually shut down a little bit of this fishing, as Gully is pop cap. You know, I love seeing this about Gully. He's a man who doesn't mind a good old pop cap. And he only does it for a few seconds of time. I've seen the TC idle get stuck like once or twice in his games, but it happens so often. He optimizes those resources in the idle time by the second, and he believes in himself. But now we've got horsemen from HRE.
So you say, like, it makes sense now that Arhen, that details, all that German efficiency coming in, right? But, yeah, also, maybe he's just a sick thrill seeker, you know? He's like, oh, the risk of maybe missing out on worker production. That is where I feel most alive in AoE 4.
Now, this dock is quite under siege, but to be fair, it's just a bunch of archers and a handful of horses. Now, with your horses, you will go and attack the reinforcement, he says. Gets a few of these, or few, let's say. He gets one. And then he has to back right off. But now villagers have the tower up. They are not going to go too close. You don't want to be getting too much damage on these guys, especially not with your reinforcement here just yet. You need to be able to get your daimyo running with your army to make this deadly.
Yeah, we're not there. You know, like, he's not using too much gold currently, so he's not really gathering any stone. He's not actively gathering stone either. So it does feel a little bit delayed, more than you'd like to see here. I mean, it makes a world of difference just having that attack speed, especially with your Yari scaling. Meanwhile, interception and reinforcements, just trying to slow down this, right? The Yatai does force the ninja to be spawned. At least should be very happy with that. That's a wasted ninja play. He dodged it perfectly.
Yeah, and if he keeps that scout alive, that is going to be pretty great here. As it does have a little bit of a slower movement speed, but it looks like the horses are focusing on other horses, not just on a little scout with no military value here just yet. Now, they do seem to catch up pretty well, and it doesn't look like, do they? They can't have their upgrades because we don't have a yacht.
No,
Just fast.
it's not.
Charge.
It's not something you always rush here. Especially when you got Yumi, it feels like you're going to be stuck more on guard. Like, you're already at your objective, right? Like, you don't have something to weave in and out of. There's a dock here. It's not going to run away from you. So it probably just feels better to get the scale up. Like, I've seen a lot more of these type of games. Early on, people rush the Takeda cavalry tech. More recently, I'm not shocked when I see them wait until castle.
Now, this is quite a bit of damage here we see on the horses, but the problem is with 10 of them already being in this composition, it's going to get a lot harder. He's trying to pick off as many of the archers as he can because he knows when this comes down to a fight, his spearmen are going to need to survive as long as possible to actually deal with this. Now, Gullyd, he's lost one of his docks, and this is actually pretty massive. Even though Myriad hasn't been one who's gone out on the water, he's already getting all of this passive resources with his own yatai. And this just means his economy is going to match HRE's pretty soon, especially with his mini Arcan also exoting. What is that? Like a little bit of boost. How much is our percentage bonus on already? 10%. We'll get there, boys. Just a little bit more.
What was
time.
that word?
When?
Exotic.
Exoting? I don't know. What is the word? It's like giving out.
Exuding.
Exuding! There's the word!
Exuding.
Thank you, KP. I should not use
Oozing's
hard
in the
English
one as
word.
well, but it just
Oozing.
sounds weird, you know? There's something wrong about oozing. Oh, grenades in a medieval fight? Surely the guy with the grenades wins, but hold on a second. The Yari struggling to hang around here. The horseman block from Gullyd looking pretty good. He's starting to break through, and those grenades are being wasted. It does hold back the spearman, but it means there's no damage buff in his favor, and that means the Yumi are going to be at a critical disadvantage on the second part of this fight. It should be anyway.
And they were not able to snipe out all the spears early on, so this does feel a little bit rough. I feel like Myriad did lose a bit here, but he just gets to recover so easily after that. Because of the fact that he does have this economy set up behind it. And Gullyd is the man just getting a lot of wood. I would love to see what that farming transition looks like, because we see a lot of little dots. Yeah, it's
Like,
starting
this is the thing. He's doing a toss-away strat. Like, it looked weird at first when I looked up the numbers, but you go, oh, it's a 10 eco lead. He's got fishing to pad him, and then he's got this on top. And, you know, the Yatais do a good job, but we have to remember, as the game goes on, you actually kind of start to lose the Yatai value. Like, you can see he's already out on the berries for the Northern Yatai, so that's going to start to deplete the passive income you get there.
The passive income with the Yatai is one big factor of it, but it's also just that you get the bonus on your eco. The problem is just HRE already has that bonus, and they're doing pretty well with that. So Gullyd knows I need to do just a little bit of damage to really make this my game. I just cleaned up the army. Let's see what I can do here. Gullyd just denying that tower. Shutting off a little bit, trying to pick off another archer yet again. But keep in mind, these horses... They are going to love to trade, and now we have a daimyo with us. The thing is, that is going to mean that they run just a little bit slower if they're all bound together.
Okay, do you see the clear difference between the daimyo and the yari now? No, it's fine to say you don't. It's there's
only one of the
yari,
one.
There you go, that's how you're different. So the yari have a shield by the looks of it. Which is weird because the daimyo definitely has more armor than the yari on those icons. Like it it reminds me of the Khan Hunters and Magadai. Oh, ambush! Oh, this could be a good strike. He tries to move in with the Yumi. Could have backfire. Yumi already tugging down the spears. He's hugging the gold. Needs to reposition. Remember, those yari have got the buffed up attack speed. The spearman count quite low. I don't know if Gullyd really wants this fight anymore. I mean, the numbers starting to even up, and there's more horsemen coming in, so the Gullyd, this is no longer a good fight.
For a second there, it looked like he was gonna be able to clean this up with all the archers falling like flies. The problem is, with that daimyo, he just gives that bonus to all the other units, ensuring that they just hit a little bit better and faster. It's attack speed, right? So this does make sure that these units are having a lovely time in these fights. And Myriad now with an insane lead here, militarily.
Well, Gullyd is up to no good. It's a bug rave build, so he's going to look to blitzkrieg his way through this one. But Myriad, not lagging too far behind on accruing resources for a castle attack. And you know, the Yari, with that melee attack speed booster, they can hold back a few men-at-arms initially.
And especially with no upgrades that he's got set up for himself. And I say not set up for himself because he doesn't have the gold in the bank to instantly start clicking up everything. This is not a situation where you get to castle, you click up a bunch of men-at-arms. Your men-at-arms still need to afford the upgrades. You need to be able to get your blacksmith upgrades. And now you're going to get just a little bit idled out here too. So he's got the food in the bank though. So let's see what he can do with this. But the men-at-arms in... Ooh, where's the men-at-arms? Nice.
Wait, he's going spear knights?
He had the food though. Makes sense.
That kind of enables Yumi though. Again, in a very weird way here, right? Like, I think Myriad, when he sees this, would be quite happy to just do Mount Samurai Yumi. And sake brewer in the way.
And him getting that sake brewery. You mentioned Regnus being great, but that is not even the case here. We are now just up against a gold landmark versus a burger. A delicious little meal that we would love to eat, but we are on a diet, so we can't. So, unfortunately, this man will not be snacking on all the relics too easily, but he starts to go and pick them up. We do see putting down the first building to start producing those, ensuring that he tries to snatch at least a few. Myriad is not going to lag too far behind because he does have the wood behind this. But with all that gold in the bank, he's going to be able to make a ton of samurais already. 2 in queue. No Yari upgrade, which I love.
So Gullyd is trying to rush in very fast to the Lancers. He's outraged that he was not invited to the brewery opening, but he seems to have forgotten he's only 17 years old, so understandable there. We'll be able to intercept one of the food cargoes for the Matsuri. A dive-in that could be pretty impactful here, because Myriad is relying on mounted samurai. He doesn't have any spearmen in the meantime to defend against that dive.
Now, with all these knights running towards the villagers, we do need to pull the boys. I mean, you see the shinobis instantly throwing down the grenades. They should be able to catch up with these knights themselves. Now, it does look like the horses do need to be a bit more careful here with the Wololo coming in and the spearmen catching out quite a bit of them. But we also got a few archers to just try and clean up.
Just a few archers.
Yeah.
It's the ninja, like the grenade effect. It's actually insane what those grenades do to a lot of the Sengoku units. But the one that still baffles me to this day is how good it makes Yumi.
It makes them real archers. They want to be a real archer. And that
I'm a real archer. Yeah, it's insane. It's a 40% increase. You're at potentially 6 damage at this stage. So it's like you're 8.5 damage. It's pretty impressive for a feudal archer to get that high on DPS.
Maybe. You see the amount of men-at-arms that is about to rain down upon
Oh my
Myriad.
god, what?
He did a switch. When we were looking away, he was like, actually, I don't think spears are that great. But let me show you what it looks like if I make my opponent overinvest. These archers are not going to be spicy enough. You can make a Yumi into an archer, but you can't make it into a counter of a men-at-arm, not with these numbers.
And Yumi just need to get rid of the spearmen to give the samurai a fighting chance here. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the grenades, right? The ninja should be coming to cooldown probably in like 40 seconds, 50 seconds at this stage. A frag grenade could be a game changer, especially if you're doing choke point fights where you can't be concaved. Gullyd just wants that push through. He wants open battlefield area because that gives him surround potential. We are starting to reach the point where we start to idle out some economy here. Myriad choosing to just rely on samurai production. It's a slow and methodical process. It doesn't do what the Burgrave does. It's the polar opposite of a Burgrave.
Now, the samurais coming out, they are going to be able to suck up quite a bit of damage here. The villagers standing idle, though, that feels very, very tough. We see the Yumis just popping back out, trying to do a little bit of damage, but the men-at-arms are doing an insane amount of work. And we do see the two-handed maces coming in, and this is going to mean that extra bit of damage against the samurai. For now, Myriad survived.
Yeah, the grenades were key there. Like, that's the only reason that looked like a clean trade. It just gave him the quick breach through because the heavy maces add so much in. But look at what Myriad's doing. Now, I am at 100% success rate on caster games. When you build Ashigata, you win. So the question now is, can Myriad beat statistics and lose? Or is this going to start to be the unraveling of a Burgrave rush?
Now, you have to keep in mind, Gullyd does have 3 relics. And now it's starting to be still scary. Because the moment he starts to snack on that 4th and 5th, Myriad is going to be the one who's like, hey, I kind of forgot about these. And now he's got those mounted samurai. They do see one of these being reminded, hey, we should probably stop that. And, oh wow, he's already picked up the others. Lots of thoughts
fun
going
detail,
around.
though. That Sengoku landmark is going to generate more than the 5 relics.
Really? Oh my
If you
goodness,
cap
that's
it out,
broken.
it's like over 100 gold per villager per minute. And if you check the Matsuri, it's almost capped. And has he got the mining? Yeah, he's got mining 1. Mining upgrades affect those mats. So at this point, he's probably at like 80 gold a minute per worker.
That's pretty disgusting. Okay, now I see why people get mad while I play Sengoku and Ladder.
Yeah,
It's a different life.
It's infinite gold. It's a surprise, and I love the fact it just buffs your workers' village like HP as well. So it's already good enough, but they just added that in there because people getting drunk. Estate's coming in a weird place from Myriad. Wait, is he body blocking the Yatai? It's not really going to work. They are going to brute force pass. Not that many Ashigaru just yet, but the ninjas again. This was a key part of the defense last time. Is it going to work this time around? He needs to keep shifting that backline away. Even Yumi doing some notable damage. But the concern here is getting enough gunner boys out. And also, where the hell are the mounted samurai?
Mounted samurais were a thing of the past as they are running around trying to find damage, apparently. But these guys, not being in the moment, it looks like they're picking off reinforcements. And reinforcements, they'll get. But the problem is, at what cost? So many villages idled out, so much of this eco just not being put to work. And it looks like Myriad is in a pretty tough spot because behind this, Gullyd is easily going out onto the rest of the map, doing exactly what he wants. We just see yellow dots all around, trying to shut down anything Myriad tries to do.
Myriad, he does at least keep a decent chunk of the Ashigaru alive. Gullyd has pivoted on him again. 32 spearmen. I mean, at what point do you just build Springles? Like, you've got the gold. You've got wood in the corner. Technically, Springles are your best friend.
Now, with all of these, he can clean up mostly anything that stares close at him. And of course, he just wants to make sure that the numbers matter so much that there's nothing that can stop this army. And this is exactly what it looks like now. We see with 34 spears, you don't have a lot of answers to that. Now, I will say that I think that is a Daimo that's being built. Because, yes, it doesn't have a lot of armor. There we go. Thank you, KP. Appreciate the coaching.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, you have to be insane to build Yari at this point. Myriad's not crazy.
No. I don't know, but he definitely needs to make some crazy plays to make this work, because he quickly switched back to, quickly switched back to Yumi, but very fast. Everything else is just idle. We just see Mounted Samurai coming in, but he brings out the Shinobis, and they are throwing grenades.
Oh, wow, he walks away.
Oh.
I mean, he's main now. Remember, he doesn't move very fast like this, so just give better kiting potential, better chase. But Gullyd can wait this out. Like, I think he's just realized it keeps costing him the kill point. If you just walk away, though, they expire quickly, and then you can recommit.
Now, with this, Gullyd is in a pretty good spot to just wait and push out the moment he sees that gold expire, too. With these units, he doesn't have mobility, though, and it looks like this is just going to be Myriad constantly kiting back, but he does have the numbers, and Gullyd looks like he's ready to commit under this TC even, like he's done so many times. We have a lot of idle villagers standing there for Myriad. 17 idle, just not finding anything to do. But Gullyd is sacrificing a lot of units here to the TC.
Surely this can't go on forever, is what you're thinking, until you remember that the Arhan farm has already been set up. So this is the state of the game for probably the next 5 to 10 minutes. If Myriad can't start to scale the core count of hand cannoneers, it's only going to get rougher. Or Yumi, right? Like either one, but you need something that can trade efficiently, because you don't really have the economy to just headbutt this.
And it is clear that Gullyd knows that he does. He's not to worry about this. That tower on the outside needs to be repaired urgently. Otherwise, he's just going to lose a pretty massive chunk of his army. That Springald emplacement has taken down more units than most of his military. So it does go down, villagers run for their lives, but now there's no more place to hide, and the units are just thriving. Myriad's economy at a complete standstill, and even with the micro he's got, he is not able to shut down this army. Gullyd absolutely wrecking his way through. And KP, it looks like Myriad might join us on the
Sengonku, baby. It's not looking good there. The only person I've seen lose the Ashigaru switch, and I mean, could not keep the aura up, so didn't have that attack speed efficiency. Props to Gullyd, though. Just going for a classic Arhin into Meat Blob and go. Burgrave starting to be back on the menu in 2026, and now lines Gullyd up for an opportunity to try and slam dunk this in the 4th game.
That economy count really showing us the state of that military in the late game. He had 4 relics as well. That feels pretty damn good at this state of the game, but when you have all your food, all your gold, everything is set up, your opponent just struggles to get out ahead of this. Gullyd taking down an absolute mirror Chad in this game. And let's see what Myriad chooses to fight him on next. Front range. Ooh.
Front range. Didn't he get
Interesting.
Ottomans? I think he got Ottomans, right?
Yeah, but is he going to be able to get it? Like, will Gullyd let him get that through? Because if Gullyd lets Sengoku through, it means Gullyd is not scared of much.
I'm trying to remember if Malians got banned. Like, Gullyd tends to prioritize them above all else, even before they became meta to this extreme. So, like, you know, if that got through, Malians and Ottomans being picked each side, like, those are very strong prime picks that take the lead. I imagine Gullyd also drafted English. I was a little bit surprised it actually didn't come out here, considering he loves English on Frisian Marshes. And the KPMMs, I think he's at 100% win rate over the last few weeks of picking it on that map.
Didn't he have to use it already on the wall?
Oh, you're right. Oh, wait, no,
Yeah.
Myriad took it from him. Yeah, my brain, I forgot about that. Yeah, so Myriad took it away from him. So, like, that was kind of like a double whammy value, actually, now that I think about it on the draft. Because, like, Gullyd is obsessed with it. He's been doing, like, 2 TC Mass Men Arm strats, 1 TC Dark Age Men at Arms rushes. You know, sometimes I think Kaiser Johan plays a lot of English games, but Gullyd is trying to compete on that.
Gullyd making English great again, which I think is pretty awesome because we haven't been seeing players believe in the English way of life for a while. But you can see so many of these points that Myriad was raiding, it felt like he was in charge and Gullyd was the one on the back foot. But that's the problem with HRE. You just farm transition and eventually you're just going to have more units than your opponent as their resources are running a little bit lower. So absolute beautiful map pressure here. And we do see the draft. And let's take a second to just look at the bans. Malians getting banned. And so does Japan. So Macedonians getting a little bit of a chance out here. And we've seen how crazy they get to be. But Gullyd, he's got some knights in his pocket. So what now?
I mean, Macedonians versus French, this sounds pretty depressing for French. However, there are ways. If you just try to raw knight into Radari, probably could get a little bit dicey. But, hilariously enough, like, if you can build up a core line of Arbre Trier, Radari look kind of meaningful. Like, the whole idea, I think, is you're trying to force them onto spears. If you do that, it's like 1 foot in the grave for them already. I think, like, I've seen a few players that like the idea of Adgir Mafa into a push, i.e. Mass Spearmen, Macedonians. I think that's you saying you need to do damage in feudal. Because if you don't, then Gambeson's memes you out of the game. But, you know, this is the type of map where feudal presence is very powerful, remember. And both of these civs, actually, desiring of that ball.
Now, when you usually play French, I feel that it's on your opponent to make the damage happen, or to first survive that night, but then try to overwhelm you with their composition too. So, French, I feel like the early game is just so heavily on their side if you can't get the units out quickly. Macedonians, though, with them getting a handful of free horses too, it doesn't feel too bad. They do bring the pressure to you because they do have that mobility. But guys, I just want to tell you guys, sorry for the delay. All memes aside, Myriad did need a smoke break, so we had a little bit of a delay in creating the next round. So
Why not
that is
just
why
multitask?
Yeah, exactly.
multitask.
Like, pick my civilization.
Works for Mister.
Making villager. Yeah.
Yeah, like Mister literally gets to the point where, like, you don't, you know, he's one of those people, like, you look at the cigarette, you're like, how is the ash not fallen off yet? Right? So, like, just be like that, you know? That's a good place to aspire, to be like Mister.
So, Myriad, his dream, we should actually introduce him to Mister. See, that's the thing about new players. Like, you and I, we've met Myriad. Oh, no, we've met Myriad, we've met Mister, but they haven't met each other.
Okay,
And-
got you.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if those two could just meet?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mister could bring the way of Mister into Myriad. It's
But I don't think Mister's gonna be there this time. That's the first Wololo since the first AoE 4-1 that he won't be there. He was there for Myth last time. And maybe next time. I don't know. Or maybe Mister's just waiting for Age of Myth 2 at this point.
See, guys, if you are going to Wololo, I'm assuming KP will be there. So KP, since you live in the UK anyway.
I mean, I'm literally casting it, so yeah.
Oh my god, you're casting it? For AoE 2?
Yeah.
Wait, are you hosting or just casting?
I'm casting. I'm the only one who announced it because Winston doesn't have social media.
Okay, that
Classic
makes a lot
freaking
of
Winston
sense.
right there.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, that's the beauty of Winston. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you get to see Winston. So,
Yeah,
guys, aren't you jealous that they get a whole event? And we're stuck.
Yeah, it's just ours.
Like,
Like, we're
dude.
just barring
Yeah.
the door. No one else is getting in. It's gonna be gleeful Winston, you know.
And
Wrecked.
top 4 that will make it through, KP. Where are your predictions at currently?
Oh, here we go. So current
putting you on the spot.
performances. Oh yeah, sure. I mean, sure. Pump me into the ether. So on the current performances, like my expectation would be for top 4 to qualify. Vortex, Puppy Paw, Marine Lord, and the funnel ones are like a little bit more interesting. The funnel one, I think it might actually be Anatand.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
I feel like that's kind of a safe guesstimate based on recent performances, personally. Because I think I might have just quoted close to the top 4 from EGC finals. So you know, my
So we'll
outlier,
see.
maybe Benjamin wants to come home. There you go. He's my dark horse rising. The thing about Dumu, he may not be consistently in the top 4 or whatever, right? But he has moments where you're like, okay, this is the time. Benjamin is back. You just got to believe hard enough. And it's British territory, so it just brings with it a spiritual involvement, a spiritual advantage for Ben.
Yes. Playing on homeland, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's why we saw Louis on China and how deadly that was. And we see Marine Lord on French and we see how deadly that is. Now, Demu just needs to bring in the homeland. Pet the bald, bring the bald to the main event. But, okay. I'm actually really excited to see how this will turn out. Because, of course, right here, they're fighting for spots to play in that qualifier. And a lot of players, they have these dreams of making it to Red Bull Wololo. But, of course, only the top 4 can go. So, this is going to be a pretty hard battle for them to get out there. I see a lot of people asking about Louis. Louis is just taking a little break, but he will be back soon. We just got to give him a little bit of time. We also don't see CSO at the moment. So give the boys some time. Sometimes you need a break. We know many players who take breaks. They come back swinging pretty hard. So they will always have a place here. See? We need our old boys back. You know who I miss? Kasva. Kasva. Oh my
Special
goodness.
K. What a lad. I remember having a talk with him after the first Red Bull before, because he had so much potential. I think the thing with Kasva is like, when you play the game your way, you're a king. It's when you let the people tell you what the meta is. I miss that guy. I think he had the potential to really just be knocking into the top 8 regularly. It was just he needed to find the strategy that was his to dictate. But let's see who's going to be dictating terms. We are in the front range. Game number 4. Do or die for Myriad. He turns to the Macedonians, the angry Vikings, to deliver him salvation, while Gully is looking to close it out as the French.
Yo, you gave Myriad quite an introduction, and poor Gully is the French. He had good hopes and dreams, KP. Come on, man. You did him dirty. Oh my goodness, Gully is going for boar. Okay, I was about to be worried there for a second. I was just waiting for a villager to die. So, he gets the boar, but at what cost? The boar costs enough for you to need to run back the moment he sees the spear. Myriad instantly making the spear, knowing that there is going to be a little bit of a battle for the boar. First one going on out, and this one should be able to get a kill if Gully is distracted for even half a second.
That guy right there would be the one to kill. Yeah, you get out of here. We notice the difference. Even the injured villager here is a little bit tricky because the other thought is like if you pull one worker back, you're now less threatening. Like the idea of the outpost. So it's going to kind of force Myriad to hard commit with the spearman instead of waiting for 2.
Now, Myriad, we can see, quickly pulling those villagers, ensuring that he builds this pretty fast. This is going to mean that these spears are basically dead weight, for now, at least.
Yeah. Like the realization, oh, wait, there's the tower. What do you mean there's 5 out here? So just a little bit of a stab at it. But no doubt about it. Gully's going to be safe here. We'll just be able to garrison and scare him away.
But Myriad makes another one. Interesting, love. Okay, never mind. He cancels it. He cancels it. Yeah.
He could have technically tried to attack the gold. It's just not really worth it. I think it's too slow at this point compared to boar, because like if your opponent has boar and you don't, he could even start adding in spears himself. Sounds a bit weird, but you know the economical difference is pretty strong.
Now, Macedonian, they have a pretty strong tempo, right? This is a civilization that snowballs out of control once they get a little bit ahead. And with Gullyd having access to the boar, I feel like Macedonia and Dynasty is going to need to snowball significantly, actually doing enough damage to the French to make this worth it. But we do see the Atkermadur. I'm going to call them spears, KP. I can't pronounce these things.
It's Adgirmafur. Come on.
Atkermadur.
You gotta. You're talking about Mister, and you're not even gonna learn his language. Disgraceful. Actually, it's not even his language, but
I think it's more Serbian. If we click on the, I think
it's more Norse.
It is.
Yeah.
They were actually Viking. That's a Jir. That's Atkermadur. Is it not Jir?
Yeah, it's like the matter the Atgir or Atgir, but it's definitely Mafur. It's like it's Norse pronunciation because the matter it's almost like mother with like an A and a D.
Okay.
Kind of.
Language.
Oh, sorry, no, it's more like math. It's really weird. That's the classic British response. Languages are really weird. Why don't you all just speak English?
Now, we do see the Hippodrome coming out. No surprises. School of Cavalry, but this is going to be the saddest School of Cavalry you've seen in a while because it has no access to gold. And we can see Myriad also getting his other spearmen onto the side of the other gold because he wants to make sure that there's no sneaky little knight coming on out. What we do see with all the villagers going over to the wood, we're going to see a quick archery range follow-up to try and get back control of the gold, which should not be too difficult. This is pretty standard here in the matchup. You know you're not going to get that knight out so fast, so this shouldn't upset Gullyd too much. He knows where he's heading.
Yes, into mass spearmen and eventual speed on them heading at him. So, I don't know. I'm curious, like, to see what his intent is going to be here. The idea of like opening some knights makes a lot of sense, especially considering you're expecting Macedonians to play out of their base pretty fast. But surely you're going to find yourself eventually at archers.
Now, with the School of Cavalry coming up at 5, it means it's going to be pretty quick. He should not be able to burn that down. It might be worth it to invest to get that thing healed up back to full. Oh, never mind. He's still got a long way to go. The scout is coming to help out, though. He wants to get this burn already on fire.
It's weird to just see like no attempt to get knights on the opening, man. I mean, Myriad's going to take note of this, right? And you think, okay, it makes sense, KP. He sees archer, like he sees spears and he's archers, but it's Hippodrome. So like you've already now given the lead to just play into ponies. That is interesting from Gullyd. Wait, why have we got horsemen?
Because legs, attack, destruction.
Okay. Right.
Because horsemen against horsemen, right?
But if more legs equal destruction, then how centipedes not taking over the world?
That's a good point. I didn't prep anything for that, KP. I'm sorry. You brought up a good point. I'm done now.
Yeah, I didn't even know I was going there. And whoops.
Spearman quickly cancelling itself, and I mean, that is the best way to get rid of them. Just get them under the TC. Now the archer is going to be the focus here, but he does need to be careful. We do see the spears trying to find their way around this board, just circling around. Gullyd taking a big stab here. One of the horses almost going down completely. And now the archer numbers slowly increasing, but we have to ask ourselves, when do we have gold for our first knight, good sir?
It'll be a while. Like, probably at least 30 seconds, right? 5 on gold. It's not going to be that fast. And we are seeing the scale from Myriad. It's just melee, blob, and go, isn't it? We've got the horsemen rotating around. A good idea there by Gullyd.
Now, getting these vills on gold is going to be great, but they should be able to back off in time. Do not have wheelbarrow. One of these, the horse might be going down, but the villager also pays the price. Beautiful.
Now, that's exactly what we like to see if you're French. You're already scaling a work lead, and remember, the weakness of Macedonians is their eco sucks. It's all about the leverage through military force. This could be a good strike, though. The outpost doesn't get repaired by Gullyd. And remember, that Hippodrome Scout is a buffed up boy, so he contributes a lot of DPS into these type of trades.
And the villager does not make it out alive. He did look optimistic there for a while, but all these villagers standing here at the back, they didn't run back to base. They're fighting against the scout, but they are just pulling out the shivs. And is this going to be enough? We see the spearman just trying to focus on that scout, but oh my goodness, does he take a beating?
I mean, I feel like that guy was just basically raised in a room with 8 guys that keep hitting him with slippers. Like, seriously, the scout having the same health as... I'm pretty sure it's the same as a Castle Age Knight, 230. And they heal. It's just very hard to snipe. Like, you can't rely on archers to do it. And spearmen can struggle to actually get the DPS trade. Horsemen now diving in. And yeah, if you just, like, fought this with the horseman and keep the scout behind, it's a terrible trade for Gullyd on the A-clicks. He's trying to target down the horseman, but not a great trade at all.
And it feels like he's just rallying these units one by one to their death. He's not constantly able to produce this. The villagers still being this far out just means they are going to be, again, in danger. Villagers running for their lives. The spearmen, a little bit too far to make anything happen here. We do see a little bit of damage onto that villager. And they are turning around, trying to fight this. The archers desperate to do damage, but more villagers pay the price. And the horses get out alive.
He's losing pre-Hippodrome horsemen. So just think about what's about to happen here. That's +2 damage to every cavalry unit in range of that bad boy. Like, if he's already losing the game, this is looking pretty worrisome, considering Gullyd doesn't have any transition. Like, we're almost 9 minutes into the game, and we've seen a total of 0 French knights.
Now, knights are just overrated, KP. They don't run as fast as the horses. That's why. But... you know what's not overrated? Going back out onto the map to get the food when you know there are horses out. This is pure commitment here from Gullyd. He says, I don't care how much you throw at me. That boar is mine. I sacrificed for this. So the first knight finally being clicked up, and this is just going to mean he's got a tanky horse to throw into the other horses. But there are more horses to arrive, and Myriad looking very, very aggressive, hoping to get that 2-2 on the board and skip out on casting for the next few weeks.
Oh, 2-2 doesn't guarantee it. He's going to need the full sweep. No losses allowed for him, right? I mean, Myriad is definitely a good position. He's now pivoting into Bogmaffer, and we are going to be seeing Gullyd going into the Knights. Now, interesting thing about the Boggies, the archers and the Macedonians, they have an ability that pierces through armor. So it ignores 2 armor. Means that they're actually pretty good at trading against everything that French are building right now.
When the main composition is very, very weak units to handle that. Especially when you think about the archers that you're going to fight. But yes, knights, they do have quite a bit of armor to handle this. Problem is just the numbers are so low, and with him having the spears already in queue, this is going to be even harder. Yet again, villages under siege, and we're starting to get, I would say, a lot of idle time. Or not on just on these, but on every side of the economy. The split raids are starting to matter. The knights are going to make this a little bit harder for him, though. But Gullyd keeps making archers, which, like you said, is just not going to trade too well against those.
Yeah, and I mean, with the tech play coming, the fact that Gullyd's now pivoting into knights, it just sets up beautifully for the Radari spam, doesn't it? And we love this. Such a strong play. More Varangian strongholds equal. Maybe we just slip out into some stone, because you can just have very efficient defenses there with the arrow slits. Even pulling onto the board. I mean, it just shows you how confident Myriad feels about his current position on the map.
He's the one that's been raiding. He's the one that's been denying food. He realizes he's the one who gets to go out on the map and use this. But now, the thing is, he's up against a guy who has knights, and you still have to respect the power of knights. You can't just be out here on a ball without protection, and sure, your army has protection, but for now, only if you decide to keep them there. Spearmen going to the front here, but the archers are going to absolutely demolish them. You see the archers going straight for the spears.
Yeah. Hung him around a little bit long there. Gullyd's tempting fate, man. He's going to try to dive in. Not many spears left for him, though. I think this is just kind of the A-click moment for Myriad, and we should have runestones now, if he wants to commit them. It just depends on whether the archer's been getting the finishing touch. Doesn't look like they have. So we'll just trade it out. Horsemen just flood in on that back line. It's now going to be knights versus ponies, but there's a big champion in the mix. That guy right there will kill every single knight in his own. Mark my words.
That guy is made for the next age. He's not supposed to be here, and he is ready to take down anyone who stands in his path. Now Gullyd not having much more to throw at this fight, and all of a sudden, those villagers that felt so brave going back out on the boar are going to be sitting ducks. You do see that these two knights are hoping to make a miracle happen, but you see that charge coming in. It's barely making a dent.
No, it will be
Scout?
target fire on the scout. See how long it takes even for the scout kill, though. Just need to get rid of any burn power. So going off the spears is a smart move. Knight goes in again. Watch that Radari. Like, he just doesn't care. And remember, he has healing. So if you half-ass the commitment, he'll still win.
He needs to full send or just kill everything around it. And look at this. Those two villagers in that tower, they are sitting ducks yet again. Myriad says no more and pushes out with confidence. With the archer mass just increasing as time goes on, he's putting these guys forward because he knows once those units pop out, he wants them to be nice and peppered to take them down pretty quickly. Getting even further ahead. Gullyd, he does have the French ability, though. The one where you just get villagers a bit faster. And this has kept him... Yeah. This has kept him in here for a while, but at the same time, for how long? Because Myriad is just the one actively killing anything and everything that dares step out. Now, more archers on the way.
Yeah, the problem here is like the Bog Muffer, they scale really well because you can just start leveling up the damage as he's now doing. On top of that, I mentioned the pierce damage, the runestones. Runestones plus the champion, the kite potential here is brutal. And when you realize that Gullyd's becoming now reliant on knights to try and carry him back into this, means you can get kited out of the game. Clash comes in. Spears get wiped already. That champion is still rock and rolling here, man. Like, it's just... I'm pretty sure his health bar was lower on the boar fight. It just kind of proves how quick this healing is.
Now, when those two pull back, the horseman also heals, right?
Yes, like any of the champions heal. So if you just click on them, you see how fast it is. Like, doink, doink.
Yeah, this means that there's just going to be unlimited fighting for Myriad, and he's the one who's currently thinking about edging himself into the Castle Age, which just means that there's going to be more Radari coming out, and I don't think there's much Gullyd can do about a bunch of Radari coming his way.
I think at this point, he's just praying that Myriad does go Castle Age, because then the attack will stop and he'll get an opening, but Myriad just understands it perfectly. Front range is a map all about sending it, and he has not stopped sending it for 15 minutes now. Archers find a few more kills on the work account. Gullyd now behind by 11. And food access, non-existent.
We see the knights looking for a bit of a counterattack as they are going straight for food, knowing that this is usually where people are going to be out at this stage of the game, especially when you're playing against the Macedonian that doesn't have any sneaky farm transitions or pastures to fall back on. But they are definitely going to find some victims. The problem is just how many of his villagers are going to be paying the price.
He's moving so fast as well, this champion range. Just looks to target fire down 1 or 2 workers, and now the full committed. He jams the archers in there. That just shows you how far ahead Myriad feels. Doesn't even try to keep the distance, doesn't feel threatened whatsoever. Now the cavalry rotate all the way around the back and just shift over to the workers afterwards. Archer's going after a few more worker kills. Gullyd, it just kind of feels like he's processing the loss, or maybe praying that the TC can do that glorious defender's advantage that it's known for.
And I mean, the horses took a lot of damage, but he still has one of his champions alive, and that's the problem. His Radari champion is the one that's alive, and that one is the problem. He calls it and says 2-2. I guess we'll go to our final game against Myriad. But Gullyd now, he is going to need to pull out some nasty raids to make this worth it. And Myriad, I just love the fact that he went ahead and was like, I struggled against this man's raids. Let me make sure they cannot happen.
One Radari wins a game? I mean, it kind of has that feeling about it. Just a really strong play overall. I'm wondering, what does that leave us with now?
What? The lever?
What does that leave us with now?
Oh, leave us with now. Oh, civilization-wise. Oh, my goodness. I really hope the producer can show us. Maybe they press one of those fancy buttons and show us here. Because all we see here is a red graph, and this red is not for the blood. It's for all those beautiful horses that just took control of the whole game. So, let's go and see. I'm winking at our people. There we go. We see the next screen. Oh, Kawa-san. Very nice.
Yeah, and Knights Templar QUALIFIER kind of I think your expected bans coming out here leaves Japan and Ibids to get through, though. Ibids has historically felt like a really good civ here. Japan, it's just another example where there's been a lot of other good maps in the last year competitive play that hasn't felt as urgent of a pick, but still a potent one. We always have to remember that Coca Township play to just disable the docks and build an advantage.
Now, with these civilizations, though, you always have to ask yourself, is there not something sneaky happening along the way? Because with Kawasan, now we've seen it time and time again. The map, you think you're going for water, but all of a sudden, there's just so much more happening here. So Gullyd now getting the Aeobids just means that we can see a lot of different things. With Aeobids, I know for a while we just had a bunch of people go for military wing in the castle and completely overwhelm their opponent with constant units just flooding into the base. Even if losing the water mattered, they would not care, not even for a bit. So Japan, though, they love that little bit of water boost into their economy. So even if they don't get to shut you down, if they can secure one lake, that constant mounted samurai spawn can just absolutely destroy you.
Yeah, we do have to be mindful of the fact that Japan can Dark Age rush you very efficiently. So, Ibid's probably going to be just expecting the multi-dock strategy. We saw it a little bit earlier today. Just, oh no, you've built Dark Age units, more docks, more docks, more docks. Because only 75 would have popped to just keep your opponent distracted. Pretty damn efficient.
Now, what I'm really glad to see here is that people are still respecting KT on water. Getting that ban out here, making sure that KT is not questioned, it makes sense. We haven't been seeing a real answer to the ability of KT to dominate, and I think at the top level, people are not as scared of it anymore. But the Taklak also, we're getting a constant hell no when playing against Taklak on water. And we'll see if Taklak is then basically the new KT. But Japan, it's such a fun civilization to have in any regard when it comes to a drop of water on the map, just because they have that diverse set of play in the Dark Age. Now, Spearmen opening, great. You can go send them to the dock. Your opponent didn't go dock, you go straight to the gold. Perfectly fine. You go for water right after. Aeobids, though, if they decide to go for Eco Wing, they get that 3 villager boost. It doesn't feel like it is enough, but with the dervishes, you very quickly get control of the land if you wanted to. Then at the same time, do you even need that? Do you go for the military wing like we've seen before? Is that type of aggression on the land the thing that will set Japan back, allow them from losing control of the land? And that's where the big question mark lies, I guess.
I think it's very difficult to justify military wing, right? Because like the desert raiders sound great. You could maybe do it with like a ram rush play, because my concern is if your strat revolves around early docks, you kind of want advancement wing, because Japan, they just rush into the Coca. Like there is actually a strategy where they do not build docks and they just get Coca, and then they just sabotage your docks. So you could rush this dock play that never even works.
We haven't seen the Coca in so long. Would this be the one instance where it's going to be great again? I think so, KP. This might be the moment.
I mean, it's always there. It's just like we don't see it because they're so good on land maps. Why would you ever need it anymore, right? But like this is a tricky map. I think like the counter strategy is you should build enough docks and probably go advancement, because if you get one arch ship out, that should invalidate the play. A play that I'd be very shocked if we didn't see from Myriad.
And Myriad, he's played this map more than enough to know exactly what the capabilities are. Myriad, ready to roll in on the water, he says, and we see with all the villagers chopping on the wood, he is most likely just going to go for a good old dock as we see that villager dropping it down. No crazy Dark Age shenanigans, maybe just a good old shinobi play as required.
Yeah, both of them go for the dock. So nothing Dark Age aggro-oriented or paranoid on the other side. Like Gullyd will be able to realize this very quickly as his scout is already checking in on that. They're both scouting this pond, so they should be aware. I think actually Myriad might not have seen it straight away. But, considering he's going dock opening, it's not like it's going to change anything for him. It's not like he was going to follow us up with immediate racks, right?
Gullyd has the information for himself already, and now we do see that red line to know exactly what the scout has seen. So Myriad also gets the information he needs. Both of these boys just going to be going for their fishing ships. Now, keeping in mind, Aobid's dock is a lot cheaper, so they just get to save a bit of wood, while Japan's fishing ships make it a little bit easier to also get those numbers in. I guess the real question is who gives in first and goes for the gold?
I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Gully just go double dock, like separate ponds, just because it's so cheap for you. It diversifies the risk. Like you can just kind of add in free fishing here and then pivot to the other one. Because Japan is going to be a little bit less efficient on that. You know, they do get a slight discount on the fishing boat costs, but the 150 wood initial investment is quite pricey. So yeah, Myriad going to be moving across 2 on the gold now. And this does make sense for that coca timing that we were talking about. I'm curious to see if Gully will go advancement or try something weirdly greedier.
I mean, do you see Myriad stopping production on those fishing boats? He still has 1 villager there on wood, which will drop off, and he will be able to get 1 more if he desires to, I say, without the fishing boat being queued up, and I just jinxed it again. Now, Myriad with his 2 fishing boats, and on the Gully side, did he also idle the dock out? He does still have enough in the bank to do something with it, but it does look like we have 2 fishing boats per side.
Yeah, just going to stop there for the moment. Has set up the how. The interesting thing here, actually, with the map spawn, like this is something that's kind of underappreciated about Karasan. Karasan has a lot of different deviations based on map spawns. So there's essentially 3 different lines of thought here, right? There's this one where you both spawn leaning one side bias. That's usually going to lead to what happened here, which is dock same side. There's central spawns where you could be 50-50 coin flipping. And then there is opposing spawns where one player like yellow would be on the east pond leaning and Myriad would be on the west pond leaning. So really very different type of styles of openings there. Like if, for example, you're playing the split, the parallel, where you've got your own pond, you're making an intentional choice to aggro. I prefer that one or this spawn. The one that I'm not a big fan of is the central bound spawn because it does often feel like a coin flip.
And there we go. We get an industry. KP, the one I did not expect to see, but it does make a lot of sense because you do get the extra wood. You're able to drop that second dock. And like you said, when you have more docks, there's a lot more to sabotage. And Japan shouldn't be able to keep up with that. However, Blackrocker Township is finishing in 40 seconds. And for some reason, I have a feeling that there's going to be more than enough shinobi to keep both of those docks idle if Gully decides to put the second dock over there.
I think if Gully wants to be on this pond, he needs to start building the dock before his age up completes. Okay, so he's going for the other pond instead. Kind of just feels like Myriad's going to get to have his way with the east side pond here then. The timing's aligned, right? Then Shinobi's going to take 20 seconds. So we're talking about, 35 seconds from now, he'll have Shinobi running across. And you will still be 30 seconds away from an age up.
And the problem is that villager might just pay the price. We have 2 seconds left, and now the Cocker Township coming in. First ship already on the way, and Myriad is going to secure this pond pretty quickly. Now, Gully investing here onto the second dock. It might just be a little bit too late with that ship on the way out right now.
Well, Shinobi's about to spawn, but the more important thing is the archer ship timing, because the archer ship coin flips, that there is a world in which it maybe just kills you in time here. It shouldn't really, though. Let's see.
That villager is pretty peppered up.
Myriad?
He might be able to finish the dock, but is he going to make it out alive?
No, he gets it! Come on, the RNG on that. A perfect hit to get the kill. So that is pond forfeit, really. Like, Gully can't come back out here now. The Shinobi's going to block that.
Now, we do see Gully has a few extra sheep here, but those little ships are going to be the problem here. Now, the question is Myriad going to invest in another ship over there, or is he just going to try and get the other pond too? We do see, and that's exactly what he does. He tries to go for the other pond, but there's already a military ship. It needs to move out. Is there? Where is he? I thought we were seeing it out. Oh no, that's Myriad's side. Everything is confusing.
That's gonna disable as well, so he doesn't get it straight away. Has got double dock though. I don't know if Myriad actually scoured that yet. But still, it's like if you're sabotaging one dock, you can contest. And he was also burning the east side dock. The problem here is he needs a second Shinobi in place, because like technically Gully could have gambled on a boat coming out there and kind of screwed your plan a bit.
Myriad is getting a lot of wood here, so he will be able to make a a significant amount of ships that he would need to get this pond. But you need that second dock too, and that's the problem here. The villager's got to shiv out. You know exactly where he's going. And the ship is going to be joining him pretty soon as well. Shinobi does get peppered up just a little bit here, but the ship needs to move a little bit north to try and stop that villager from taking him down. Second Shinobi on his way now, and he's going to be able to sabotage this dock any second.
Another interesting thought. Gullyd needs to walk the right way back. That's a good call. Like, maybe not now the archer ship is here, because the thought is the Shinobi from the left side. So you could basically walk right into his arms and get killed by him.
And these Shinobis are really hoping to keep these docks as inactive as possible, but that's why Gullyd has invested 3 docks onto this pond to try and make sure this thing stays alive. Myriad needs to pull that villager back, but the dock is still inactive. Is it going to make out the ship? One more fishing boat coming on out, but this might be an issue here. Gullyd needs to invest in military boats pretty soon. Oh, never mind. He's got control.
There's no arrow slits here from Myriad. I thought he'd try and rush towards that on the stone. He is actually moving across now, so it seems he's kind of changed his mind, but maybe a little bit late to do so, considering that Gullyd already has a triple dock play on this pond.
Now, this does mean his economy is going to scale pretty fast, but at the same time, you have to ask yourself, is this exactly what Gullyd, or is this the only thing Gullyd wants right now? Is Gullyd happy with having this, or... And I guess Myriad says he isn't happy. Double pond, but there's going to be a Springald ship ready to destroy that villager who dares step that close.
Yeah, he's down. I'm a bit shocked by that. Myriad maybe just kind of losing track of how things are flowing on this water side right now. He was not winning it at that stage. He's slowly eking out an edge with these type of players. You just move him for the sabotage and move away. You need to respect the arrow ships, though, because now that you aren't really able to pose threats big time from that corner, it does mean that Gullyd can afford to keep boats back to defend. But I love the split here, man. Just in and out constantly. This has to be so tilting for Gullyd.
Now, Gullyd is doing an amazing job at doing as much damage as possible here, but Myriad is definitely overwhelming him. You have to keep in mind, Myriad did significant damage by killing those fishing boats. Oh, and the emplacement is in, but is it just a little bit too late with that dock? Looking like it's going to go down pretty soon. We do have a villager coming on out to try and repair this, but the Springald ship... Oh, he doesn't notice, KP.
He's got a lot of time to notice, though. There's no way, surely. Okay, he was like, wait, I should be dead. So he goes to repair again. There's a boat coming out. It's an archer ship, though. This is not really what you're looking for to stand the test of time. The villager will now be sniped, so Gullyd does realize what's happening. Doesn't really feel like the arrow slits has paid off here.
No, he does get a boat. Oh my. Ooh. Okay, KB, I think you need to stop doing this to the poor guy.
Oh, that's the money shot. Okay, but you're still going to lose the dock.
You got your value. You definitely got a lot of value out of it. Of course, you want to win the pond with that, but definitely idled out a lot of docks there to keep making military boats, and that's probably the plan. That was probably all he would need to get himself into this next part of the game. But now Gullyd has 8 villages on gold, and we know exactly what this is telling us. But Myriad, he's making horsemen. He's not ready to go for that castle.
Okay. Interesting choice here. I mean, he sees the archers, right? The idea is that if you lob horsemen, you can actually send it on land and just strip your opponent of all gold. But, you know, easier said than done on the timings. It's not like his food income is crazy here.
Gullyd is making a few spears to make sure he doesn't lose complete control. After seeing the horses, instantly queuing up those spears, we do see the horse raid on the gold there, but we're looking very closely at this ship, patrolling up and down, quickly lifting the finger from TikTok, and
oh my god, finally... and he has a boat patrolling as well. What a copycat. God, come up with an original idea.
Can we just get a little bit of a follow on that boat too? I feel like we need to give them a little bit of equal airtime.
And maybe some copyrightable music, you know, like the kind of like dancing on ice type music. That would probably hit really well. Like dun 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 dun. No, they don't want to entertain us here.
Where's our picture-in-picture on those boat patrols? That's what the real cast would be about. Oh my gosh, Myriad bringing 2 vills here to the front, ready to tower rush.
What?
11 minutes into the game. Oh, never mind. He goes for something else.
And now
Archers.
a proxy base? Okay, this is getting weirder and weirder. So he's going to blob Yumi and send it. Reinforcement wing has been queued. 2 minutes away for Gully.
It does take a while. He does have a moment here to try and do something, but that is a very risky move here by Myriad. He feels confident though, and I love it. I'm in. I want to see this work. I want the archers to make their way forward and actually just get a few shots on those gold villages where the horses keep them nice and distracted. He's going to see that age up now and realize I am on a little bit of a time crunch here.
Yeah, but your opponent has also chosen Desert Raiders, so you can't really hate that. Like, Yumi is the answer to scale into. Deals with the Spearman, enables the Horseman. Horseman and Yumi both counter Desert Raiders together. Just needs to get that spam going. And I do like the idea that he's brought them forward just to guarantee that troops will be there in time, but does mean you don't really have much of a fallback plan here.
That wall here at the back, pretty five-hand from Gullyd3ck3l, making sure that nobody gets out alive if they dare go too deep. And Myriad yeets. He just goes back. He's like, no, never mind. We're not losing these horses. We need them for that next push. And Myriad not backing down. 23 still on wood. He is going to commit to this. But Myriad, you saw what happened last time. You were too committed to a water economy. Let's hope this is not one of those.
And this must suck, the idea that he went arrow slits. Like, sure, he got those kills on the boats in the end, but imagine the difference here. He'd have the Daimyo already, and that would allow him to buff up on the Yumi or just Bannerman it up. Either one, beneficial, and end up feeling a little bit required for this type of dive. Gully has been incredibly greedy. He's stockpiling a lot of resources, but that means Camel Lancers is the onus. But it's also a slow thing to own with. They take 35 seconds to come out, meaning Myriad does still have time.
Problem with that is a pretty heavy unit to handle, especially with the units he's got and the horses instantly going onto the villagers. He does not get a single kill. The camels pop out very quickly, ready to take a fight, but the horses are ready in position. The Yumis need to focus fire these spears to try and get this down as quickly as possible. The archer numbers from Gully just not enough to fight this off just yet, and he's pushed off of gold for quite a while now because this is not something you're getting back anytime now. With those camel lancers coming out, he should be able to do a bit of damage if Gully doesn't rally it backwards. I would love to see where that rally point is. But Gully looks like the kind of guy who will rally correctly. Yeah, he's just going to pop out normally. All right, he survived. Very nice.
Like, the problem with correctly is it's subjective. You know, if you believe you just want to full device send it, then correctly is just rallying on the enemy army. But the Golems is a really cool idea here. Myriad doesn't really have a solid solution in the feudal age against this. It's also very lean on your gold usage, which you need to be considering you just got blocked on the forward. And in fact, Myriad is already patrolling the south side, anticipating Gully might try to sneak out.
Now the problem here is, yes, you're killing a few houses, this is all good for you, but this is just delaying the inevitable while you're still making units. And that's the problem. Myriad here, he's just making a lot of units. It feels like he's committing, but it doesn't feel like he's full committing. We don't see any Yumis in queue, but we do see spears. And that's probably just to get rid of those camel lancers. He gets a beautiful surround here.
Definitely committing now. Looks like he's ready to put a ring on it. Yumi just trying to snipe down the spearman, but the horseman, you just see the issue of those Golems. The Golems is the really big question mark. May only be 3 of them, but you don't want to be anywhere near them. Your Yumi do low damage. Your horsemen do not trade well against them. Myriad has to retreat, and I mean, he's flowing a lot of wood here. If he rebalances his economy, he could be sneaking castle right now.
We do see Myriad making a point of sniping every archer he can. The problem is those camels are just staying alive, not even getting any attention here. With the reinforcement wing, it's going to be something that's going to be a constant pain in his side. Horseman getting a pretty good focus there on the back, but the Gulams, like you said, they are just constant. It looks like those Yumi have stopped target firing anything militarily, but just trying to get as many villager kills as they can, and he does. But the problem is Myriad does not have anything behind this, and now his production here at the front is just going to go down pretty quickly, and that's a significant portion of his production.
All right, here you go. This is the strat. Just have him walk near your boats because you need it right now. Myriad with a lot of forward infrastructure. The burn's going to be coming through, but that does at least buy time for Myriad. The big problem is those workers. That's like, what, a third of his economy? Just walking across the map right now when he needs to be stockpiling resources for a castle timing to get units out.
And we do see that Myriad is not going to stand still with this. He knows he needs to delay that army. He sees the villagers. He's going to try to do something about this, but the army is waiting right there. And now with the ram, this is going to be a pretty easy push off. You do see him getting the bannerman and the mounted samurai clicked up pretty quickly, but he needs to find a little bit of food. There's still a pretty healthy deer pack for him to fall back on. Myriad, this is a tough position for him. He is very far behind militarily.
Yeah, I mean, the quality difference is day and night right now. You know, he's trying to get the mounted samurai out, but there's already camel lancers to answer that. Desert raiders aren't terrible at trading into it. It's going to be a difficult defense. You know, Myriad doesn't really have any ace up his sleeve. Even on the economy side of things, he's being mirrored on the food.
Now, we do see these horses still trying to stay active, still trying to engage as many of these units as they can, but the relics are being sucked up by Gullyd. He's just absolutely everywhere, picking up anything that is close by, but we do see a market here. You know, this man has had to make some sacrifices during all of this, especially to get this age up and running. Now, Myriad waiting for those samurais to come out and just more Yumi in queue. He's waiting for that upgrade as well. You just cannot let those camels have a good time all for free.
You sound like a bouncer or a club trying to charge the entry. Well, let's see if the price is going to be too high. He gets in. The Ghoulam are going to try to front this. And the samurai count...
And they will.
the sam count is really not high. There's also idle time to worry about for Myriad. Already 10 workers not just working. And the defense just really isn't there. I mean, the archers can just go after workers now quite freely.
The samurai, they are cleaning up here pretty well at the back, but now all of a sudden, Gullyd is doing a pretty good job at taking down a few villages alongside this. The army will get cleaned up, and now it will be on Myriad to actually land something pretty heavy. But now, keep in mind, Gullyd's food workers are all there in the middle too. So, sure, things are getting cleaned up, but they are in a position to get raided, especially by armored mounted samurai.
Yeah, that was nice from Myriad. In the second part, like, he kind of just stopped and thought about it for a second and used the Yumi and the archers instead of letting them kill workers. And then the second wave of mounted samurai coming in from behind did just kind of give that recovery arc. But as you highlight this food burst in the center, you can just see the difference in the food numbers just double up. And I think this is where we're going to see Gullyd just discard the crap, right? The Ghulams were cool for this kind of decisive hold into an initial push, but it's crossbows and camels that will deliver you to salvation. He's even finding the economy to allow for archers to be part of that combo.
And getting archers as part of this combo is going to be so massive when dealing with the sheer amount of Yumi you're also facing, and a possible switch back into spearmen if Myriad desired. You want to make sure that your units are going to be able to run right through them, and with 12 camel lances, you're mostly going to be able to do so. Not a problem at all. Those crossbow numbers from Gullyd are starting to get a little bit high, though. So mounted samurai should melt like butter anytime now. Gullyd, you see that military value lead looking absolutely disgusting.
And Gullyd knocking at the door. He actually has free entry if he wants it, really. The army isn't exactly defending the dive, but that's because he's worried about a shift over on the gold that Myriad would need to thrive here. All of his gold's eastbound. In fact, he's out on the 8k currently. This is maybe in some ways a good sign for him. Like, Gullyd's going to spend time destroying the infrastructure instead of shutting down the gold access.
So is this going to be enough for Myriad to actually find an answer? Because we see that he's floating 500 gold there without really a plan for them just yet. But, oh, the Yumi numbers are significant here. The problem is just camel lancers, they don't mind taking a few shots from these guys either. Now, the mounted samurai, they do provide a pretty heavy front line, but again, just until those crossbows really make their mark. Another barracks going down, but a lot of unspent resources here for Myriad.
Yeah, Gullyd, just a little bit cleaner. The gold wood has got some surplus in reserve. Maybe a little bit of an overextension here in the end, but second wave has arrived. This should make Myriad think twice about the commitment. So it does start to back up when he sees the camels most definitely starting to outnumber him.
Oh, and the archers, going straight for the back line, but because of that, they are on right under the camel lances, and this could just be a massive misclick, but it looks like he believed in it.
He should definitely not believe, all right? Just at this point, you're going to need to go to a church and get some divine intervention because that was not the move. The Yumi just making it so simple for the camels. And Gullyd now hitting breakpoint. He has enough camels to stay here. Last time, it was just a trickle of troopers. He can burst down whatever's coming out this time around. And Myriad has to shift the workers further away. That means less Yumi production. It means more one-dimensionality. And on top of that, the workers on the back still getting pushed back. Myriad looking destined for the caster desk here as Gullyd is moments away from securing a spot in the road to Wololo.
These villagers are running for their lives, hoping for a miracle in that TC, not shooting rockets just yet, but a few units being pumped out. They're looking for a little bit of refuge, but unfortunately, the camel numbers just continue, and Gullyd's got a stream of yellow units coming straight across. Myriad taps out. Gullyd will be making it through all the way to the main event here, and that was a destruction. Gullyd, honestly, looking pretty strong here. Really proud to see how he has evolved in his playstyle, making sure to keep people on their toes by being everywhere on the map.
Yeah, really impressed by the way he kind of executed on this series and shows you that he's leveling up. I mean, the win against Ayame Satu was an inspiration going in this day, and now to 3-2 Myriad. Rough qualifiers for him, right? Twice makes it to the qualifying set, and twice it's just one game difference to fall short for the newest member of Volta Esports. But, you know, he'll get back on that horse. He'll keep grinding. It's still early in the year. It's a shame to miss out on a big line, especially when it's in the country that you're living in. But, you know, I think Myriad, the way he started this year in a lot of areas is promising for how it can progress. But Gullyd definitely has really started to bring it together. You know, I think like we've seen a lot of him in the KPMMs. It can be kind of hit or miss. He has some games on occasion. But we're starting to see him deviate beyond just the, that's a bit cheesy strategies. Like I mentioned, his love for English. He's becoming a more robust player, and that promises a good future for him. And who knows? Maybe a slot at a certain London event if he keeps up performances.
If he can get through Demu in this case.
That's a lot to get through.
So next week we will be kicking off the main event for the actual 4 spots for the main Wololo live event at the Royal Albert Hall, I believe. So
two places, right? It's the Royal Albert Hall, but before that, it's gonna be. I'm trying to remember where part of the event is. I think it was. I can't remember now. My brain is completely. Oh, the Odalux theater, I think it was, and then we'll switch over to Albert Hall for I think the last 2 days.